What's up, hockey fans? Hit that like, hit that subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Don't you miss a moment.
Let's go! This ain't the puck night! Oh, this game he stinks!
Oh, shit!
It's gone!
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour live on A2DRadio.com. I am Matt Sensudi, along with the Darkwing, Brian Daly.
What up?
And the Broken One, Rob Povia.
No matter how bad life gets, there's always beer. Norm MacDonald.
Oh. Oh.
Yeah,
I
thoughts
don't
and
have a beer.
prayers.
I'll have to get one for. I'll have to get one for him.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers on that. Yeah. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. And tonight we are going to finish up our division breakdowns. We talked about the Atlantic Division to start things off. Well, actually, I should correct myself. Brian and Ryan and Frank talked about the Atlantic Division. I was MIA for Wi-Fi reasons. And then we broke down the Pacific Division, the Central Division, and now we are back home. It's time to talk about the Metro. I think the only thing scarier than this division are those gimp masks that Kim Kardashian likes to wear in public. But in the end, we have to do what we have to do. It is our cross to bear. So, are you guys ready? Time to pop off a cold one and let's talk about it. But before we do that, let me introduce to you the show sponsors. And we'll start off with Body Check Wellness, of course, created by former Philadelphia Flyers enforcer, along with the Phantoms as well, Riley Cote. 25% off your order you can get with that A2D code. Body Check Wellness is a line of products that use hemp. They also have THC-free ones as well. They've got edibles, gummies, ointments, you name it. They've got it. They've got it at the end of the day. All of that is to help with focus, clarity, and balance in life. As we all know, life will throw you and, chuck you into a friggin' abyss, and you sometimes have to crawl your way out of a really bad situation. Or sometimes you're just spinning around and you really don't know what the hell's going on. Sometimes you just need to take a moment and you need to just get that focus back and figure out what you need to do to solve the problem, or just to kind of get things into perspective. This is the way to do it. Helps everything there. All right. And so, with that, we go to our poll question. But before we dive into the poll question, the sponsor of that is Manscaped. Gentlemen, ladies love confidence, and you can unlock your confidence with Manscaped. They got two gifts, by the way, that they're giving away. One, a trimmings bag, and secondly, also boxers. So there you go. You get some stylish boxers. You have a bag to, take care of cleanup. Very important to do that. You want to be somewhat classy if you're going out on the road and you got to take care of business there. But in the end, what is the goal of Manscaped for a gentleman to use? Brian, why does a gentleman use Manscaped?
Get rid of that junk funk, baby. Let's go. Got to be all clean.
That's right.
You got to smell good.
That's right. The ladies love that. So don't be an asshole. Do what you got to do. Take care of business down there. All right. And the question is probably a question that should be pretty obvious knowing this show, and that is, the Flyers will win the Metropolitan Division. Agree or disagree? Gentlemen, what do you think about that? Robbie,
I don't know.
you feel
For me personally, man, I mean, I'm over here in the Flyers garb, just like the hey, first of all, that new intro video, kudos to the production team for putting that together. That got the hair that should be normally on the back of my neck standing straight up, man. That was got me pumped. But wearing the same jersey from said video, you would think I would come and be outright agree. I can't. It's just not realistic. Too many of the young players took a step back last year, particularly one Travis connecting. You got to see a little bit of what we saw in the previous year, a little bit that style of play come back. Did they make a lot of good moves to solidify some holes? Yeah, they did, but there's a lot of good teams in this division. You got the Washington Capitals that have been perennially winning this division. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who really outweighed our expectations last year and are defying, father time as much as the Caps are themselves. You have Islanders that are, always competing, always there, fast team led by Matthew Barzal. We've talked about the doomsday that is this division. It's a hard press for me to agree with this poll, so I'm going to have to disagree. What do you think, Brian?
Well, first things first, I originally wasn't going to do this. I was going to take a break from it, but this is for Norm.
Yeah, man.
Very funny man. Spent a lot of time on SNL. It's great movies, big part in Billy Madison, all kinds of other great stuff. Very, very funny man. This one goes out to Turd Ferguson and his big hat. Why? Because it's funny.
Yeah.
Norm.
All right, now I got to get a beer, dude. You forced my hand. My hand.
All right. So while we do that, while Rob's doing that, I'll give my
all right.
I disagree to the poll. I don't think they do. I think they definitely make an improvement based off of last year. And from what I'm seeing from a few guys, John says if Hart makes a comeback, he says yes. I don't necessarily agree. A couple of reasons. You have the Hurricanes in this division, back in this division. And to me, they're the perennial division winner right now. I mean, you could definitely argue the Capitals. You could argue the Penguins. And one of the big things that you have to realize, especially with Pittsburgh, Crosby just had successful surgery on whatever has been ailing him over the last 3 years. So I'm expecting him to take a huge step forward this year, despite his age. And he, even with the injury, he was still playing Crosby-level hockey for the most part. But Hurricanes went out and they shored up their defense. They got a couple new goaltenders in their midst. They've made some big moves. They went out and got Jesperi Kotkaniemi for some unknown reason. But, again, still got to worry about the Capitals. They're still hanging around despite how old their team is. You still have Pittsburgh hanging around, like Rob said, despite all that. And then you still have the Islanders. Rangers are up and coming. Devils are up and coming. This is going to be a tough division for the Flyers to win, and there's going to be a lot of competition in it. To me, this is the most competitive and probably the best division in hockey. Just think about all the superstars that are in this division right now. You have Matt Barzal, you have Sidney Crosby, Alex Ovechkin. I know some people don't agree with it, but Claude Giroux. There's just a lot of competition in this division. I don't think the Flyers win it. I do think the Hurricanes do, though. Yeah, I disagree with the poll.
The Hurricanes had a very active offseason, but losing Dougie Hamilton, I have questions about their defense. They went a totally different direction in goaltending and brought in some talent, and they do have those young scoring. But I think much like the Flyers' Achilles heel was defense was this past season, I think that's going to be for the Hurricanes. I'm not as high. I respect your opinion. I respect some of our commenters' opinions picking the Hurricanes to potentially win this division. But to me, in my eyes, I think their defense got a little weaker.
Yes and no. I see your point with Dougie. Dougie's a huge part of that, not just their defense, but their power play. What's up, man? Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't seen Dom Flacco either in a while. Dom, what's going on?
Dom.
They went out and got guys like
saying
the big name was Tony D'Angelo. Despite his character issues, dude's a stud. He is. There's no denying that. So that's like to me, that was their big catch on defense. And to your point about goaltending, I think they kind of took a little bit of a step back on the goaltending. You went out and get Freddie Anderson, but you trade away Nedeljkovic. Why?
Yeah.
I still don't understand. But you know, it is what it is. I like what Brendan Moore does with the team, and I like his intensity with this team. And it's just going to be one of those situations where I just think this team, despite, you know, taking that step back, Brendan Moore is going to get the best out of these guys.
Fair point.
For the last time the Metro Division was in play, well, the Metro wasn't in last year, and last year the division leader was Washington. Didn't mean anything though because they got their asses stomped by Boston. But the year before, the Metro would have been won. God, who was leading by the end? Was it still Washington? No, it wasn't Washington. Wait,
what out of
2019, right before we went to the bubble, or of 2020, right before we went to the bubble?
Washington, I think it was.
Washington was okay then.
Yeah.
All right. So Washington was the one that was looking to win the division. The previous time we had the Metro.
And Jim, I'm not writing off the Penguins this year. I mean, yeah, a little bit older, but now you got a 100% healthy Sidney Crosby. So that's gonna be very, very dangerous.
Nelkin does look like he's going on the LTIR though, so he will be missed. But they still have talent secondary wise, so it's not the end of the world for them.
Certainly, I mean, despite whatever realignment was in place last season, it was a competitive division, a division that they did very well in. So I don't see that changing just because it's realigned back to the Metro.
Yeah. What's up, Jesse?
Jimmy?
See Jesse chiming in there saying it's been crazy getting his kids back into school. So yeah, man, we're doing good. We're doing good, brother. Hope you're doing well too, bud.
Yeah, hopefully everybody's doing well out there, and keep the comments flying in. John, Malmos, Jim, and Fla.
Also,
we got
let us know
Rosca
what you're
chiming
drinking.
in, Don. Yes,
Let us know what you're
definitely do
drinking.
that. Jesse and everything. Yeah, obviously Prism. Love you guys. Great to see y'all. And as for my
Always.
Cheers
To you guys. Hey,
All right.
Maddie joining in.
So my answer to this: fuck all the other teams. Flyers win it. Fuck every other fucking team in this Metropolitan Division. They could all suck my fucking dick. Fuck you guys. You ain't shit. Fuck you all. That's my answer to the poll.
That escalated quickly.
Doing what I didn't have the balls to do. Good job. Well done.
That's okay. All right.
Listen, when you hate this division as much as I do, you wait every year to say that, because fuck this fucking division. This division is annoying.
It's not totally out of the realm of possibility. If you have strong bounce-back campaigns, you want to talk about Crosby getting surgery and coming back 100%. Well, Kevin Hayes isn't going to be in that same boat. What if we get that Kevin Hayes that we got 2 seasons ago, right?
Yep.
Barabee taking the next step, maybe pushing 30 goals. Having a healthy Morgan Frost who was looking good on offense before he went down early, along with a lot of the other young players that got experience as the Flyers were down in the standings, namely Wade Allison. Hey, it could come together. I believe. Well, I'll be rooting for that.
No, absolutely,
Oh, yeah.
100%. You're spot on there. If things go right, and especially with the guys that they brought in, and the chemistry, they gel quickly, it's a very good possibility that this team could win the division. I mean, like I said, Washington's older, Pittsburgh is older, but the Flyers tend to play those 2 teams specifically fairly well, especially in Pittsburgh. And I've seen a couple people, Jesse and John saying like they want to agree to the poll, but they would rather see consistency and a deep playoff run. And I kind of more agree to that. I don't care if they win the division,
Which, of course, is the main goal. That's the main. Yeah, that's the main goal. If you don't win the Metro, you don't win the Metro. It is what it is. But if you get into the playoffs, and you can actually get out of the Metro and wind up either in the semis or wind up in the Eastern Conference Finals, holy shit. Like that's even better than winning the fucking division, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, you can sit there and win a division all you want, but if you're first round out, I mean, obviously it's good unless you win the Stanley Cup. It's all meaningless. But I mean, what do you consider a successful year? Yeah, they win a division. Okay, good. That's one step to what?
Yeah. If anything, that would be a step back.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
I mean,
but the idea is to really bounce back from last year and really make some noise. Like it doesn't, to me. I mean, we all saw them making a deep playoff run last year. Obviously, that didn't happen. We want to see that again. Like that's my goal for them. Like for me, for this to be a successful season, they have to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. They have to. I mean, this is with the players that they brought in and the depth that they have now, the leadership that they have now. It's anything less is inexcusable. Is unacceptable in my eyes. Like. I don't care if they win the division. That's minuscule to me. You got to make a deep playoff run. You got to make some noise in the playoffs. You really got to show off what this team is really made of, and that the moves that they brought in are going to be worthwhile, especially guys like Ryan Ellis who are here long term.
No, I got you. But a little quick scoring update. 4-3, the Phillies are rallying here in the bottom of the sixth. Harper just came home and was declared safe. So far, Phillies might be making a comeback here.
I have no idea what songs that Ant here is talking about. He's saying, so what goal songs do you want? I want something new. Mayhem by Steve Aoki or Born to Be Alive by Pat Henderson.
Honestly, if I had to choose a goal song,
Pennywise,
I will say Dallas. I will say though, Dallas has an awesome goal song where they have "Cowboys from Hell," which fits because Pantera being from Texas and all. But that's an awesome goal song right there. But if I had to choose which one I'd like, this is gonna sound so bad. I don't give a fuck. The Flyers are a team that nobody likes except Flyers fans. Rolling by Limp Bizkit. Fuck everybody. Yeah.
I like it.
I can't remember the name of it before, but what was the one goal song from like 99 and 2000? That was always a fun goal song.
99, 2000. Was that Van Halen?
No.
Or was that the mid-90s that I'm thinking?
I think Van Halen was the mid-90s.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, then.
I don't know. I still think Bro Him by Pennywise is that's Anaheim's goal song.
Oh, no, I know which one you're talking about, Brian. It's kind of like Dropkick Murphys type style. Like
almost.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Where it was of that ilk or what have you.
Yeah, it was like that punk rock.
Right, exactly. Definitely punk rock. I didn't like it one bit. Sorry, I didn't. Not my cup of tea.
You son bitch.
What do I know, though? I'd probably play some hippie music. Which wouldn't really go well. No. Straight old school Metallica.
There you go.
Little sanitarium.
There you go. Yeah, you definitely feel like you're in a sanitarium when the Flyers don't play well. That's for damn sure.
Well, I think sanitarium would be a great intro song for them, like when they're coming out onto the ice for the first time. Like I think that really gets like the blood flowing.
I would say if I had
celebratory.
All right, go ahead, bro.
I'm trying. No, you can go because I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. Like I'm trying to think of a good song.
I was going to say, for Metallica-wise, you could use Ride the Lightning. I mean, the problem that I would feel would you feel somewhat conflicted, though, because of the Tampa Bay Lightning? That's the only thing that would give me pause. Tampa doesn't use that, but still, you would kind of be like, does it fit? Because there is a team called the Lightning in the NHL.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you just use, all the guitar riffs. Don't put any lyrics out there.
That's a good point. Could do that. Could do that completely, actually. That's not a bad option. Yeah. Either that or For Whom the Bell Tolls. I would like that one.
I don't know
Just
how many
signaling
people
the
would
team.
like that after Jonathan Papelbon. That was his bullpen song coming out of the bullpen. So
all right, I'll give you that one. Maybe not a good option, although we could redeem it if the Flyers have a good season. So, but yeah, all right, I'll give you that one. Anyway, all right. Let's see what John got to say. He says, "Here's another question: all these stupid mandates and COVID BS. Will we have full arenas?" I haven't heard anything contrary to anything so far. Not to my knowledge. Then again, the season hasn't started yet. So
I mean, I know Hurricanes are fully vaccinated, Flyers are fully vaccinated. I'm sure other organizations already are. As far as I know, for mandates, it's pretty similar down here. You got to either have vaccination, full vaccination, or you got to provide 2 negative tests. So I can't imagine it being too different. I mean, it kind of is what it is. It's the world we're living in right now, and it might unfortunately be a lot longer. So it is what it is.
oh, good choice by John here. Seek and Destroy. One of the best riffs ever, and was Sting's theme song by the end of WCW, which that made me a Sting fan. His theme song alone made me a Sting fan from that moment forward. Oh, well, let's see here. Robbie, what do you think, though, about the whole arenas thing?
Well, I think they're going to, from what we're seeing from all sports, enough people are doing the right thing and getting in and seeing their teams play. So I think people should do the right thing, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, then. So, gentlemen, now that we have gotten the poll question taken care of, Larry Aquilino saying screw the wokeness. What's up, Larry?
Fucking A, man. Fucking A.
Whether you're woke or not, it's not going to change anything that's going on right now. So,
we got John saying, just stopping by to say what's up. I'm just chilling to my favorite metalcore bands. Nice. Well, wait a minute before you
John,
before
this
you
is why
stop.
we love you, man.
Yeah.
This is why
By
we
the
love
way,
you,
John, before you head out, if you're just stopping by, let us know what metalcore bands you're listening to, because I think we all can say we did a little bit more than just dabble in metalcore. I think we've embraced it. All right.
I'm kind of curious too, because I wonder if we were into some of the same bands as far as like metalcore. Although I don't really get too much into metalcore. So we'll see.
I got you. All right, then. So let's get into it, gentlemen. It is time to talk about the division. Oh, boy. So the Metropolitan Division, ever since this division came into the league, I've hated it, and I will continue to hate it. But we must go through. We'll save the Flyers for a moment. Let's talk about the other teams, and let's get into it. Should we start with a team we hate or a team that we don't give 2 shits about?
Team we don't give 2 shits about.
I guess we
Everybody
start with
else.
Devils then.
So let's begin then. Let's start with the Blue Jackets.
I like it.
Unfortunately for this
there you
team,
go. That's it. That's all you got to talk about. That's it. Game over.
Even though they got Lane, and I guess you could say they won that deal, really didn't do anything for them last year. Last year they missed. They fired John Tortorella, and it's been a bit of a mass exodus then. Seth Jones saying, screw this team, I'm going to Chicago to go play with my bro. And Cam Atkinson getting traded to us, thank you, and giving them Jake, you're welcome. And I don't know what to say about this team. Help me, guys.
They're going to be just as good as they were last year. I mean, they didn't really take a step back. They didn't really do anything to take a step forward. You got Lane for maybe one more year. You got Jake for a couple of years. I mean, Jake's going to help provide some offense, but he's not going to do anything crazy. I mean, defensively, they took a step back trading Seth Jones. I mean, there's not really much to talk about as far as the Blue Jackets go. They're going to be the worst team in the they're going to be one of the worst teams in the league, and they're going to compete for that number one spot to get Shane Wright.
No, I got you.
You think they finished in the basement of the Metro?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Way
yeah.
down there.
Oh, okay, John. Okay, John. We listen to a couple of well, I used to listen to Parkway Drive. I don't listen to them anymore. Still listen to the Architects. I like them. Kill Switch Engage.
Oh, Kill Switch Engage. I love that band.
And then Nice Nine Kills actually did a single with one of my favorite bands, Senses Fail, and I haven't listened to it yet. I'm kind of nervous about it.
That nerve-wracking moment is like, oh boy, please to God be better or be good at least.
It's one of those. I have to sit down and listen to it because my buddy is a big Senses Fail fan at work. So I don't know. I'm nervous about it. That's all.
I got you. I mean, Architects, Wage War. Architects and Wage War I've listened to off and on. I haven't deep dived into their catalog. They're not a bad band. They're not bad bands. Parkway Drive, I actually never took the time to listen to them. The Ghost Inside, For the Fallen Dreams, While She Sleeps. I have listened to While She Sleeps. Fit for a King, Kill Switch Engage. Probably the band I love the most out of all of them right there. Although I have listened to Currents. They're not a bad band. But, yeah, a few of those bands that I actually have dabbled into. And let's see here. Prism saying, I'm more of into black metal and death metal. Oh, yes. If anybody recalls, I did read off Cannibal Corpse's track list for Prism live on the show. That was during the playoffs in the middle of an intermission. So it's like, well, you got to fill that time somehow.
True story.
Yeah. Yeah. It's making me thirsty too, John.
It's interesting. I don't hate that, Larry. I don't hate that one bit. Love to see it.
Yeah.
Similar to what I got as far as like predictions go.
Yeah, so yeah, Larry with Carolina first, Flyers second, Islanders third, Rangers, Washington, Pittsburgh, Devils, and Columbus. I kind of see where he's coming from, and I do believe that that's a very realistic look. I really pray to God that doesn't happen, and the only reason why is because 2 and 3 have to face each other in the playoffs, and I really don't want another playoff series with the Islanders. One was good enough for me. I don't need another experience like that.
Sure.
Please, God, no.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I feel like Columbus is consensus bottom feeding team. They may surprise a few people. I mean, who knows? Bringing in Jake Voracek may be something that really sparks the offense. I mean, I'm literally just speculating right now because obviously we have no idea what's going to happen with Columbus, but we know that they didn't do anything really spectacular in the offseason. We know that they're just starting, I feel like, heading into a retooling. But, I mean, they lost some major pieces. They lost 2 major pieces, in my opinion. And we don't know which version of Patrick Laine they're going to get next year. I mean,
that's key.
That's very key. And not having John Tortorella now and a new head coach, you could get 40-50 goal Patrick Laine again, and that could really, really change things for this Columbus Blue Jacket squad.
I will say this: I like Brad Larson as a coach. I think he could pull some good play out. He's a good players coach. One of the guys. We'll see how maybe they respond better to that than the authoritarian type role that John Tortorella took. But I mean, bottom line is whether this team finishes in the basement or not is going to ride on Patrick Laine. You said it right there. That's why I jumped in and said that's key. The trajectory of this team is really just attached to him. In terms of defensive losses, how do you replace Seth Jones? Well, Jake Bean could be that young player that could make some noise for Columbus, and he has a good prospect profile. So, I mean, I agree with you. I think they'll probably finish 8th, but if you do get Patrick Laine going on a hot goaltending streak, maybe they can put some pieces together and put Devils in the basement, and who doesn't want to see that?
Yeah, and that's exactly where my mindset is. Like, Patrick Laine is going to be key here. He really is. He's going to be the key to the success of this franchise, not the franchise, but of this team.
Yeah, I agree on that. We got Benny's Nation saying, "What's up, boys? What's up, Benny?" We had Chuck saying, "Gentlemen," earlier. What's up, Chucks? By the way, guys, you see that little logo on the side of Benny's Nation's little name right there? That means he is an A2D member, and you can join the A2D fam. And it's only $9.99 a month, but it's got some nice perks to it. You can get appearances on show. We've had Prism on here twice and counting, as we talked with him about the Central Division last week. And also, you get members-only streams, shout-outs, and weekly sports picks from the Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas. Both of those sides of the coin, they really know what they're talking about. You know, Willie on one end, you know he's going to tell you facts. And the guys on Money Pop Podcast are no joke either. You guys will not only make back the membership, you'll probably wind up making a profit joining A2D, honestly.
Yeah, for real. And for all you guys that are in the chat right now that are A2D members, you guys are more than welcome to always jump on and chit-chat with us. So, you know, if you ever want to just jump on, just let us know. We'll Robbie will send you the link. Or we'll try and send you the link. We'll figure it out. We'll get you the link. Don't you worry about that.
We'll send you the link if we like you. No. That's not how it works.
So wait, but we like everybody, so we don't have to
really
worry about
disagree. That. So you want to have the debaters. Let's get the debaters on. You know, let's go.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm a master.
John's picking a couple of good songs here, though, for the Flyers. Say Motley fucking Crew, Livewire, Kickstart My Heart. I feel like Kickstart My Heart, though, no offense on that song. That's a great song, but it's played a lot in the arena. Livewire, though, I am so there with you on that one. That song doesn't get played enough.
Livewire would be a good one. Livewire would be a very good one.
Yeah. But Kickstart My Heart just speaks to Philadelphia, man. People will be, like, singing in the stand like crazy.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's true. All right, I'll give you that one. And
I think Benny's making a dick joke.
Right down here.
Oh, Benny.
Oh, good old Benny.
Remember how conservative Benny was when he first started commenting in on the show? He's starting to open up a lot more.
He is. This is what we're here to do. We're here to help you guys come out of your shell. It's time for you guys to don't mamby-pamby it up. If you want to say fuck the world, they can all kiss my ass. Feel free to say it. No one cares. We're enjoying it. That's all we care about.
Degenerate Nation, spread the word.
Larry saying,
Larry.
Yeah, do you think Forster gets called up this year?
Not yet.
You know,
I don't think so.
It really, I don't know. I don't think so because I'm thinking of the lineup and I just don't think that there's room for him. You know, there's a lot of depth that was added to the team in the offseason, and I just don't see it happening. Not to say that if someone goes down with an injury, God forbid, that maybe they throw the kid a bone and maybe they bring him up for a short period on that reason and that reason alone. But that's the only way I could see him really showing up, honestly. And even then, they might just go to the scratch list, honestly.
That's immediately where my mind went, Matty. I was like, there would be one instance, well, maybe two, and I'll get into both. One is due to injury. You have guys coming back from injury, aforementioned Kevin Hayes, Morgan Frost. You know, he's got to show his durability in this harder-hitting league. So having that depth and maybe being able to bring up the kid to get his beak wet, not a bad idea. Also, this actually ties into the poll as well. A big wild card that nobody has talked about is Oscar Lindblom. He can come back, and he started looking like his old self the last couple games of the season. He has a good, healthy offseason in camp and comes in here, right? How I tie that in is that if that could happen, that could maybe, increase the chances of this team winning the division or, more importantly, making a long playoff run. But if it doesn't happen and he maybe takes a step back or is slumping or kind of staying sort of in that in-between level, that could necessitate, you know, an opening, a spot to where maybe you give him some time to clear his head, you know, situations like that.
Yeah. I mean, even with injuries, like I don't necessarily know if I see it yet.
Yeah, he's early.
He's shown that he could play in the AHL for the little bit of time that he's been down there. And obviously he's clearly, you know, working to get better and like Zayd Wisdom, you know, they're trying to get up as fast as they possibly can. It's all well and good.
True.
I love it. I
True.
love the drive that these guys have. But my thing is there's guys who I don't want to necessarily say deserve a shot ahead of them, but guys who've been here a little bit longer, guys who have, you know, like Morgan Frost. Morgan Frost would be my guy to go to first off instead of Forrester. If he's making the AHL look stupid, yeah, give him a shot. I'm all for that. Figure out a way to get him up on the pro roster. But my concern is if he is up on the pro roster, how often is he actually going to be playing? At least on the Phantoms, he's going to play every day, which is what he should be doing as a player who's developing. So that's my big thing, making sure that he's on the ice every day, playing, getting better. Not necessarily sure that would happen on the NHL roster right away unless he like absolutely wows people in training camp. And I mean like 20 points in preseason. Wow.
Hey, John, she might be old for you, but she's just right for me, baby.
Listen.
Speaking of dick jokes.
I'm all for that. Put her you know what? No, because I'm gonna get myself going.
She ain't the number one anthemist in the NHL for nothing.
Facts. Larry, I agree. He's a sniper, which they absolutely lack. But you don't want to rush. You don't necessarily want to rush somebody as young as he is. He's young. He's got a great future going forward. He's got a great shot. He's going to be good. A little bit of maybe another year, and then get some of these other guys off the books and maybe expand the cap a little bit, and then possibly I could see Forrester not this season coming up, but next year for sure.
So if you're a Phillies fan, you might not want to know this, but the Cubs just increased their lead by a run.
Shut
up. I know, bad news, but it's an update. 5-3 right now for Chicago.
I quit.
Next sport.
I'm gonna go and kick it stateside and talk soccer.
Talk about the Philadelphia Union.
Talk about Cristiano Ronaldo. He's a stud.
I got you. Oh, that is true. But
by the way,
Benny's
if you missed
Nation
that show earlier today, you can always go to YouTube. We archive everything there. Apple Podcasts, Spreaker, SoundCloud, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts, you can go find A2D. Also, for you, some of the new names I saw on here, hit that like, hit that subscribe, gets those notifications up, never miss a show on A2D Radio. Dude, and also, you just, it helps you be great. Be great today. Like Tom Arnone always says, like the Godfather always says, fuck with an algorithm today. Be great. Let's go.
Yeah, like it.
That needs to be a new T-shirt. Fuck with an algorithm. Philly drinkers, if you're listening, or if John, if you're listening, make that one in all campus OC.
Make it so.
And let's see here. Benny's Nation saying, is this a make it or break it year for Frost? I think so. Frost has had a few chances on the Flyers. He's got to show a little something here. And not that he hasn't, but a little bit more consistency is all. He has had some injury problems, which I think has been playing into a little bit of the issues. But
it was one injury and barely a season or two. What are we talking about here? Am I wrong on that?
I mean, he had the injury last year, and I thought he had one the year before where he missed a little bit of time towards the end of the year. I may be mistaken about that. I know he had the season-ending injury early last year, though.
Yeah, that was the big one. But I mean, we're talking about a guy that's just starting to get like. I think it's a little premature to say make it or break it. I mean, maybe if you want to talk about physical durability and being able to, you know what I mean. If you're brittle and you can't stay on the playing surface, like a la like Raheem Mostert, yeah, I get that element of it, but I think that's a premature statement. We'll agree to disagree. How about that?
Yeah, I think we can say that. And 6-3 Cubs. Oh God, this is going south rather quickly for the Phillies.
I told you not to stop with the updates. Yeah,
I
so you
can't
did
help
only have
it.
the one
It's
injury. You're right, Rob.
I have to do it. We're live. Be malpractice if I don't. Anyway,
Not a baseball show.
I know,
you can also follow us on Twitch like TEDFX does.
That's true. And Ted's saying, do you guys think that the Flyers get Pennywise, Bro Him Back as our song after goals, or no, because the Ducks use it? I think the Ducks still using it. I think that kind of negates it. I don't think the NHL likes it when teams use the same goal song. So I don't think that they will let them do it. I don't think they'll let two teams have it.
We're talking about a player that's played 22 NHL games. And if you want to add in his Lehigh Valley time, okay, that's 41 more games. Slow the roll on the Frost hate. I'm just being argumentative tonight. I don't know.
You are. I love it. I love it.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
So real quick, to Larry's point, G will probably be back. That doesn't mean you can't use the money towards Johnny anyway. Personally, I don't want Johnny.
I don't either.
A good player, but he's not the answer. He's an assist guy. He's not the sniper that everybody thought he was going to be. I think he's only broken 20 goals once, maybe twice in his career. He's an assist guy. He's Jake Voracek all over again.
I don't see. I'm not the type of guy who's big on let's bring the hometown boy back. Like, it's like, I don't give a shit if he's from the area or not. The point is he going to fit on the team? Like, that's what I'm more worried about. So I don't know, man. I'm not really 100% behind getting Johnny right now. He's had his problems in Calgary anyway, but I think that's more the fact that Calgary hasn't had its shit together for a little while. Although it seems like now
be there either.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't know, man. I don't really want Johnny, honestly. If he's temperamental, I don't know. I just feel very much like steer clear of him. I just that's my personal opinion on it. But anyway, moving on. And we got Tom saying, my boys, what's going on, Tom?
Tom, happy birthday, brother.
Yes,
Godfather's
birthday
today, so make sure you all give him a birthday shout out. I know we all did.
Yeah.
Oh, what's today's date? I never know what the date is. It's the 14th. So does that still? So does that mean he's a Leo? You're a Leo, Tommy? Chime in. I gotta know. There's all good Italian guineas are Leos. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying.
I know he's not a Leo. I don't. Leos run from like July 20 something to August 20 something. He's whatever.
That's what I didn't know. That's what I was forgetting. I should know that. Absolutely.
Well, only reason I know that is I'm a Leo.
Because cancers run from like, I think, what is it, June 22nd to July 22nd or something like that. And I fall into that category. So whatever's next.
Tom actually knows the answer to that.
Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Eileen's saying, did you guys change your evenings for the show? Yes, we did. We changed that around to Tuesdays. We've been going on at 8, but since it seems like Lazy Booking might be making a comeback real soon, we're going to be coming to you at 9 from this point forward. So, and by the way, best wishes to Chrome right now and his mom. Yeah. So we're praying for it. Buddy. All right, on to Benny's Nation here. We Are Number One by Lazy Town should be the goal song.
I don't know if I know that song. Jim, we can't play any of these.
Yeah. Goddamn copyright. Motherfucking assholes. Anyway.
Oh, you know what? That's Metal Angus would be a good song, but I don't know if that would really get like people amped up.
It might. It got people amped up for, Edge when he came out. But again, that was
it's different. It's just different. It hits differently.
I got you. And I don't think, I mean, I know I have heard people play whatever in arenas. I don't know. That might stir up controversy because that was Benoit's theme. That's the only thing that would give me somewhat a little bit of a pause of using that. Now, that's just because I'm a wrestling fan. Maybe you take the chance and you say, well, maybe there's not enough wrestling fans to make us think about it. But in this fucking age, I don't know. Best to steer away from anything that could cause controversy. In my opinion, that's the best option.
I don't know. I know they play a lot of the wrestlers' theme songs throughout the hockey games, so I hear Brock Lesnar's all the time.
Which actually is a great theme.
I heard what was the other big one? John Cena's once in a while.
Oh. You know what indicates celebration for a goal? Glass breaking.
Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah.
Come on.
I have heard that. Yeah. I've heard that in a few of the games. So, yeah, that should definitely be considered right there.
I see what Larry's saying here when he says they need skill and speed to match up with Carolina and Isles. We got many slower power forwards in the top six. And listen, that's a great point.
Yeah.
It is. And Johnny's going to bring you that speed. But one of the things that they also need is, a 30, 40, 50 goal scorer. And maybe you get that in Tyson Forster. But you're not going to get that out of Johnny. And if you give up on Giroux, I mean, you can even say Giroux and Goudreau are similar players in the span that they're both playmakers.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
That's my only downfall to Johnny. He's not that goal scorer. If he was, I'd go after him, absolutely. But he's just bringing in more. I'm just going to use the term white noise because he's already a lot of what the Flyers already have. Guys who can set up, guys who can pass, guys who have great vision, but they don't have a goal scorer. And to me, Johnny's just not the answer to that.
Vantage Nation says we also need TK to show up this year as well. Absolutely.
He needs to be that 30 goal scorer. They know they can be too. He can be too.
Yeah, I agree. There are a few things that do need to come into play here if this team is going to succeed in this division, especially in this division. Nylene was asking if we're from back in the day, did you guys like Lindros? I actually I pretty much missed Lindros's run with the Flyers because I started watching like around the 1999-ish going forward period after that. So kind of like with wrestling too. So I missed it.
That era, it's hard not to love Lindros. And I know I have my thoughts on him being in the Hall of Fame, but it doesn't necessarily mean I didn't like watching him play. He was the power forward. He's the reason why the power forward is such a huge part of the game today. I mean, he could scrap, he could hit, he could play gritty. The dude, he knew how to box people off. He knew how to protect the puck. He knew he had all the tools. Yeah, I just think he just to me never lived up to the full hype of what he was. And if I was Bobby Clark and I could go back and undo that trade for Peter Forsberg, I absolutely would. But he was fun to watch. There's no doubting that. He was absolutely fun to watch.
All right, then. So we got a little bit off track. We do that from time to time. We're going to steer this back. So we talked about Columbus and how they're probably going to be the shittiest team in the division. We now turn our attention to, let's talk about the Devils. Still hate them, but what do you think about this team? They're young, they're hungry. They did get Dougie Hamilton to shore up their blue line. Do you think that will be enough for them to become a threat in the division for a wild card spot? Or do you think that they still have some things they need to take care of?
I definitely think they still have some things they need to take care of. Addressing Dougie Hamilton was huge. I thought that was a great move by them. That absolutely shores up the defense. It takes a lot of pressure off of PK Subban as well for being your top number one defenseman on a fairly young defensive core. Let's be real. I still think they need to do a few things on offense. We need to see how they are special teams wise. I'm not worried about Mackenzie Blackwood. I think he's fine. I think he's a very good young goaltender. He's going to take a step forward this year. Nico Herscher, I think, takes a step forward. Jack Hughes takes another step forward. Like they have some really good young talent on that team. And I think just adding the right amount of veterans, I think, is really going to help them. Like I said, I think it's really going to be up to – got to see how the special teams is. I don't see them competing for a playoff spot yet, but I see them being much better than they were last year.
Gotcha. And Benny's Nation saying, will PK still be a Devil when the season opens up? Yeah, they haven't made any trades. I think if they were going to trade him, it would have happened already. They might do it if they can afford it. You know, maybe, you could argue maybe they do it in the offseason, depending upon his contract. But also, maybe at the trade deadline. I highly doubt it, though, because I don't know if any team wants to take him on at the trade deadline. That would be my observation on that. So I would have to think if you're going to see a trade from him, it'd be in the offseason next year, if anything.
Well, I believe he's a free agent after this year.
All right, then. So then probably
I don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't.
You know,
the only reason why I think he makes too much. It's too much of a contract for some teams to take up at $9 million a year. Maybe you get one of these bottom feeders to take the contract for the rest of the year.
Arizona.
But if the Devils do move him, they're gonna have to try and eat some of that contract. They're gonna have to retain some of it if they even want to think about moving him. That's a lot for at this point in his career, probably at most a top 4 defenseman, top 6 for sure. He's a third pairing guy in my opinion. He's not who he was in Montreal
or Nashville.
Questions like what, Frank?
Oh, with Hart? Yeah. I have too many questions with marks with Hart. I wouldn't read too much into last season. I really wouldn't. I mean, I understand that he had a rough year last year, but we all saw it. I mean, hell, Elaine Vigneault called him out because he knew he wasn't focusing. And then he got better the moment he got called out. So he single-handedly won us a game in Pittsburgh. I mean, and he played a lot better. We didn't always get the wins because our defense was shit. That's really where the problem was. It was the defense in front of him. Yes, he let in long shots. That was during a period where he was doubting himself. He was getting away from his routine. He wasn't playing well. Remember, goaltenders are divas. They've always been. They always will be. If they even get one, if the fucking toast doesn't come out and it's perfectly crisp, they'll let 5 fucking softies in that night. That's how temperamental goaltenders can be sometimes. The best thing for you to do is to just remember Hart he's got what it takes to be a starter in this league. We know what he's capable of. Don't forget what he did the year before. One bad season and we're already jumping off the fucking bridge because the whole the whole team decided to take a big old fucking shit and all of a sudden Hart's got to pay the price for it. You know, it's like, come on.
He's 22. He's 22. Let's just pump the brakes on that. He's 22 years old. Andrei Vasilevsky he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Alex Nedeljkovic came out of nowhere. You know how old these guys were when they came out of nowhere? 24, 25-ish. He's 22.
Yeah.
He's 22. He still has some developing to do. He's going to be fine. He just has to work on some of the little things, some of the fundamentals, putting himself in better position, rebounding pucks to the corners, not leaving a fat rebound sitting out in front of him, being able to see the puck. He's got better defensemen in front of him this year. He's got guys that are going to be able to settle him down better than what he had last year. I mean, I'm not worried about Hart. Let's see what he does by the time he's 25, 26, and then go from there. Not at 22 going on to 23.
Right.
Yeah.
Still a kid. He's a baby.
He went through a real weird year last year. Let's face facts. And for single people that live alone, it hit the toughest. You know, and I get it that maybe that could show, and I get that could show maybe a mental weakness that you don't want to see in your goaltender. But I don't know. I see rebounding, you know, and not of the juicy kind. in his future.
No, for sure. I have the utmost faith in Hart, and he absolutely rebounds. Like I said, he's got better front six in front of him, and I'm sure he's a gamer. He's a gamer. He doesn't want to be. He said coming pretty much out of the draft, I want to be great. I want to be a Hall of Famer. I might be paraphrasing there, but he demands greatness out of himself. He's going to improve. He's going to get better.
Yeah. And like to your point with the defenseman in front of him, a stronger core, a core that knows how to sweep the puck, out of the porch, clear those danger areas that you just saw very poorly done last year with the previous set of defensemen here in Philadelphia.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Like they brought in physical players. They brought in guys that know how to clear the porch, and you have guys who aren't afraid to start pushing guys around, hitting guys in the corner, battle for pucks, box guys. Like they brought in a couple big-bodied guys that know how to box guys out and really protect the puck when they're down in the corner. So I think that's really going to help. That's really going to help.
Benny's Nation, are you speaking from experience? Well, when I was playing, dude, remember the goalie saying well, I don't think that I just had a really bad morning, and he did give up a goal like 5 minutes into the game, which I was like, oh, well, that's great news. Can anybody help him? I remember asking him too, because I was playing defense, you okay? It's like, I don't know, man. I'm just not here, man. It's like, well, you should be here because you just let in a goal, dude. You might want to focus just a little bit. It might help us out.
Ground control to Major Tom. Get back down here.
Benny, let's just put it to you this way. When I was working at Pure Hockey, Briz would come in once, maybe twice a week with his son Vlad. He was still that much of a head case that he was either in a really good mood or he was in a really, really bad mood. And he would either talk to us or he wouldn't. So it's kind of a thing where you're a very special player if you're that guy that's a goalie. You're bred for it. It's something that you're born with, and it's something you're going to die with.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, hell, while talking to the posts in between plays, that's actually tamed compared to most goaltenders. So, oh, let's see.
Larry, I absolutely agree on Ristolainen. I absolutely agree. Says he's going to have a great year. No pressure playing on second pairing. I absolutely agree.
True. And Larry also saying this might sound crazy, but the Flyers' future up front depends on Forrester and our second pick this year. 2 potential snipers. I mean, you definitely need the snipers from the setup guys. You need to balance out your lines. You don't want just a bunch of setup guys. You can get a little too pass happy. And the Flyers have, never been guilty of being way too pass happy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't think it sounds crazy. I think there's still another couple guys in there that have already been drafted that I'm going to keep nameless for now. That could still be a major impact as far as goal scoring. And Brink, he has to. TK absolutely has to be that legit goal scorer. We know he can score him. I kind of think he had his head in different places last year, being that his girlfriend was pregnant. So I think he was a little bit more worried about her. Now that they have the baby and the baby's healthy and doing well, I think you see TK back to being TK. First-time parents, that absolutely messes with people's heads.
Yeah, true. Sometimes it's hard to take the players out of the rink and remember, these guys have lives outside of the Flyers. Sometimes you forget that. It happens. It happens with every sport. You forget sometimes, these guys got other shit going on, Might just be something like that. And it was for the most part.
No, it absolutely is. I mean, like I said, first-time parents, second time, if he ever has another kid, which he probably will, let's be real, he's probably not going to have that much pressure, and he's going to be a little bit more tamer because he already knows what to expect. First-time parents, not familiar, not knowing what to expect. It plays it takes away from the focus from doing other things because all you're thinking about is she okay? Is the baby okay? What's going on? All kinds of other stuff going on. So it plays with your mind a little bit. So hopefully he can get back to playing hockey. What's up, Ev?
What's up, Evan? And we got Prism saying, I was so far behind, fell asleep, and somehow ended up 20 minutes behind you.
Sounds like you hit pause when you fell asleep.
That happens. That's happened to me on YouTube several times. And I comment, and I'm like, why aren't they reading my comment, motherfuckers? Oh, I'm 20 minutes behind. I got it. I wanted to touch upon a previous comment that you brought up there, Maddie, too, from Larry, in regard to the second round pick this year. I'm equally excited about this guy as well, adding on to the lineage that Forrester brings. With Samu Tuamala, Finnish winger. Absolute dynamite speed, loves to shoot, loves to score. He's a real talented winger. So, I think the future is bright where there's going to be goal scorers on the horizon, and there's a few already on the squad too. So, that I look forward to seeing blossoming. One Joel Farabee, and potentially Morgan Frost, coming back off of injury. So, I mean, you're starting to move to a more balance between playmakers and guys that like to deposit, make a deposit in the back of the net.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm glad you brought him up because he was the guy I was trying to keep nameless because I had no idea how to pronounce his name. I wasn't even going to try. So I'm glad you brought him up.
I did well. I think I did well. I think I nailed it.
You did.
Think you did too.
You absolutely nailed it.
Fam,
by the way,
I did it. Yeah. Give me confirmation, fam. I need to know.
I mean, those Finnish players like him, man, they're especially when your first name's Samu.
Samu, yeah, dude, that's gonna be a huge cheer. Samu.
Oh, they're gonna love cheering his name from the crowd. Are you kidding?
Yeah, dude.
I mean, hey, let's be honest here. Brian can tell you, Finnish players usually some of your best of all time.
Samu.
A player, yeah.
Come
Maybe
on.
Yeah, we all know. We all know it's about.
And Brinks, man, in regard to TK, man, if he can just get up to the 20 goal plateau, I'll be happy with TK. And if he brings all elements to his game where he gets underneath the opposition's skin, he's getting them, making dumb penalties, putting us up on the power play, that's when we see TK at his full effectiveness. You know what I mean? So hopefully we rear some of these other kids that could potentially be, goal scoring leaders in this league, but TK being that, sort of all-around guy, that extracurricular guy, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. You can also check out Evan on Flight Zone every Monday night at 9:30. Him and Jimmy do a great job over there talking all things Philly sports.
Absolutely. Eileen saying, got to run. Have a great rest of your night, gentlemen. Be well. You as well, Eileen. You have a
Do
good
the same, Eileen.
All right, gents. So we talked about the Devils and where they're at. Not necessarily ready to make that push for a wild card spot, but there's still a team to keep your eye on because they will be frustrating when they come up on your calendar.
Good off season.
Yeah, very good off season for them. And now we turn our sights to another team that's been rising up the ranks recently and looked like they were on their way to making the playoffs this year, but petered out towards the end there. The New York Rangers. So another team that got some young blood injected into it, mixing up with the veterans. And some of the vets, unfortunately, had some injury problems, which hurt them because Zibanejad comes to mind. And Georgiev had some bad moments, but he had good moments too. And he, another young goaltender, he too kind of in the same boat as Carter Hart, young, up and coming, still transitioning into the NHL game. So, gents, I have to ask, what do you see from the Rangers? Do you see them making a wild card push in this difficult division?
I absolutely do. This team is young, hungry, and chock full of talent. I think last year you had a little bit of a late push from a few of these younger guys that they needed to step up, but they made a little bit more noise towards the end of the season. But Shesterkin was pretty solid most of the year. Georgiev was pretty solid most of the year, so you're not too worried about that. Yeah, you have a little bit of controversy in the locker room with the situation from Georgiev and D'Angelo, but now that's gone, D'Angelo's out in Carolina now, so that he's completely out of the organization. That kind of frees up the locker room a little bit. You need a great start from Lafreniere. You need a good start from Philip Hedl, and then you need to get Kakko back on track as well. Obviously, you know what you're getting from Zibanejad. And Defense is going to be pretty solid. I'm not too worried about them. It's the offense for me. Let's get Lafreniere going. Let's get Cheeto going. Let's get Kako going, and I think everything else just falls right into place for the Rangers because I don't think they played terrible last year. I just think too many guys got going a little too late.
Yeah. We got the one and only Brian Attard with a happy face emoji. So, what's up, Brian?
Hey, check out my boy BA on Rangers Talk. Believe it.
He's
You're still
happy
going
we're-
off every Thursday, right, Brian? He's over with the sports box.
Yeah.
Check
He's
that
just
out.
happy.
Good job.
Yeah, he's just happy that we're not trashing the Rangers. And calling it like we say it. And I'm right in agreement with you, Brian. I was high on this team's prospect coming into last season because I was very familiar with this young talent that came to fruition. And at some points, they were still challenged. They were challenging, for a playoff spot a lot longer than the Philadelphia Flyers were. So I give them credit there. But I do think they take that next step. I'm really excited to see the next step for Keandre Miller. I think he's a guy that, paired up with Adam Fox, the two of them could, challenge for the top defensive pair in this division, let alone maybe even the NHL themselves. But I think they've gotten better this offseason. I do think they'll feel the loss of Pavel Buchnevich, who's always been a good guy to score that clutch goal along with Colin Blackwell. But you bring in some more toughness now with Barclay Goodrow and Ryan Reeves, some depth guys like Greg McCraig, Dryden Hunt, and Patrick Nimeth. So, this team's deep. Igor has shown the ability to take over games. I'm scared of this team. I think they could have, a lot of good goal scoring up front and be a real problem.
No, they
all
absolutely
areas of
been.
the game. Yeah.
Adam Fox is one of the guys that, he's the real deal, and he's only going into his third, maybe fourth year in the NHL, and the dude is a stud. The dude is a stud. He does everything right, and he's a leader on the back end as well. So you have the bar set high for him, and again, he's young. He's going to be a Ranger for a long, long time.
Absolutely. The Rangers are going to be an interesting team to keep your eyes on. Do you guys think that it's just a wild card, or do you think that this team could overachieve and get a third place spot? Or do you think that's a little too much for the Rangers right now? A little too much biting off of what they could shoot?
Go ahead, Rob.
I'm sorry, repeat that question, Maddie.
I was going to say, do you think it's just a wild card spot for them, or do you think that maybe they can overachieve and snag third place in the division and get in that way, or do you think that's just biting off a little bit too much for them?
It's not biting off too much. I think that they'll be in play for it for certain. Do they finish there? No. I think I got them pegged for fourth in this division and potentially earning top wild card in the Eastern Conference. In order to get up there, you're going to have to see, maybe some more things go their way, or maybe more things not go the way of a team like Pittsburgh, a team like Washington, maybe teams feeling their age a little bit more into this year. I mean, we've already talked about that. We like their prospectus despite the age, but that could still be a factor. And then when you have the youth and the speed of the Rangers, if you have like some particular matchups coming down the stretch, coming in the playoffs, I like the Rangers' chances there.
Absolutely. I'm with you. I don't think they get a wild card. I do think they finish in the division spot, but I don't think they get second. What's up, Wills? Check Wilson out on HUD every Sunday. And he also does his little Willie Vegas videos. So if you want to win some money, check out Willie Vegas. He'll win you some. He'll definitely win you some. He's going to lose you some too. Let's be real. He'll lose you some too, but he's going to win you some as well.
Win some of this
football season.
Come, easy go.
Yeah. But as far as the Rangers go, I think they're definitely good enough to finish in a division spot, I think. And I think last year was a good season for them to kind of underachieve a little bit. That way they can gel together, create some of the chemistry, especially with the younger guys. So you're going to have a full season with Alex Lafreniere. You're going to have a full season with Philip Cheadle. You're going to have a full season with Adam Fox again. And BA brought up a great point. He's second defenseman in year 2 to ever win the Norris Trophy with Bobby Orr. So, to his point, it's great company.
Obviously, he's talking about Fox.
Adam Fox. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he have a statue though? No, not yet.
Not yet. Not yet. That's a key phrase there. Not yet.
Does he have what many would consider to be the most iconic goal in the history of the NHL?
I had to come with a slight comment there. There was a little too much Ranger cocksucking going on there. I had to bring it back down.
Before you know it, we're all chanting about the Mato goal and, talking about how the Messiah delivered in 94.
Yeah. I think in a full 82, I think the Rangers wind up winning a lot more than they lose. And I see the Rangers finishing in a third place spot. I do. I think there's only 2 other teams in front, and they're not much better than the Rangers, to be completely real with you. They're going to be a tough team there. Like I said, they have young studs. They're not even just good players. They're young studs. Like they have 2 franchise changers on their first and second line. So this Rangers team is going to be good, and they will be a division spot winner. They will definitely see the playoffs this year.
All right, then. We got a few people who are saying Benny says he has them actually finishing third. He also says he thinks the Caps will be a wild card. And then Larry was saying, I think they can finish second ahead of us and the Islanders. And let's see here. Brian saying, in all seriousness, the only team I fear, especially long-term, is Carolina.
Yeah.
Wills also says, I'm going to disagree to the poll. They got to show me before I believe. I'm excited, though. So, excitedness from Wills on this one. And he goes on to say, betting is a fickle bitch. So, yes, I will win some and lose some.
Of course you are. I'm going to keep it real with the people. You know that, Wills. You've known me for too long, bro.
We got Scott Robinson chiming in saying the Islanders will win the Metro. Not a bad pick. I mean, a team that usually is very dangerous and very competitive all year round, not just one part of the year, but all year. So not a bad choice for them to win the division. I actually thought they were going to win. I thought I actually thought the Islanders were going to win last year. I thought they were going to wind up being first place in the division. Surprisingly, they weren't. But, doesn't matter. They got all the way to the semis, so I guess you could say they did win the division. Well, at least come playoff time.
Yeah. No, for sure. To BA's point here, there's more youth coming too. Like, that's the scary thing about the Rangers is they do have more really good prospects getting ready to come up too. I don't like it. I don't like it one bit.
BA's.
Look, you're already getting Southern. There you go. Where's the NASCAR mug? It's below camera.
I don't have one.
It's right next to like a tray that has, again, Dale Earnhardt Jr. just right there in his car.
Right below it's the spittoon.
King. That's more of a Western thing, I feel like, than the Southern. I'm just saying.
But on the side, though, you can't see it. He's probably got like a John Wayne memorial just right there. Right off to the side.
Can this get more Southern?
That's actually a good point.
I should have bought Yingling. I should have stayed to my PA roots, but whatever.
Oh, the BA saying a hot take: Islanders missed the playoffs. Interesting. Will saying I hate the Islanders. It's understandable. I hate them too. And then saying Islanders don't score enough. That's actually a very good point on Larry. Yeah, the Islanders did have a scoring issue, and that came back and bit them right in the ass in Game 7 against Tampa.
That's why I could see. I don't necessarily think what BA said was a hot take. We know how good they are defensively. They have a really good young goaltender in Ilya Sorokin. But where's the offense? They can beat teams in low-scoring games, but if a team scores 4 or 5, where are they going to get that scoring from?
Let's see here. That's a good point. Scott saying, where do you guys have the Flyers finishing? I just chimed into the podcast. Should we save it for later, or should we give Scott the answer?
Let's give him the answer now. We
Yeah,
can always
absolutely.
get into it. We can give the answer, and then we'll give the reasons why later.
Sure, that's perfect. All right. So for me, even though I said agree, I'm kind of trying to will it into existence. So that's why I'm putting that full force in. You know, I'm going to say Flyers have a bounce back year, and I'm going to say they take third place. I think they'll take third place in the division, and they'll face off with the number 2 seeded team. Don't think they'll be second. I think that we could, but I just think that the competition being heavy, I think we'll take third, and we'll be barely holding on to it because we'll be having to compete with the teams in the wild card race, and I could easily see both wild cards being Metro teams. So I would say, yeah, I think Flyers take third in the division.
Go ahead, Rob.
To be Homer or not to be Homer? That is the question. Because not only the experience and the leadership that they brought into this locker room, not only because of that, but the particular guys that they brought in, guys where players have played together in the past and had that natural chemistry, that natural friendship. For example, Cam Atkinson, Kevin Hayes, right? I think coming out of the doldrums of the pandemic, a lot of this team gets on a hot start, plays good D. I think they finish third in this division as well, Maddie. I wanted to say second, but I can't go there because, you got to leave room for, potentially a lot of people are high on Carolina. Washington, let's face facts, Ovechkin's still scoring goals like he's 25 years old. You know what I mean? They're still an experienced team, Penguins to the points we brought up earlier or whatnot, right? But I really feel their biggest bounce back is going to be against them Blue Shirts. And I expect them to play 1,000% better against that team and hold them off and keep them in fourth place.
All right, then.
That just felt right. That felt right. That felt good. Because I'm going to shy away. I'm impressed with the Rangers' talent, but we got talent too. And,
we do.
And when you have a down year, the great part about that is there's only one way to go, and that's up.
Yeah,
that is true.
And they really can't go any lower than where they were against the Blue Shirts last year.
Right.
It was just absolutely pitiful last year watching them play the Rangers. But
yeah,
since neither one of you want to do it, I'll do it. I have them missing. No, I'm just kidding. I have them finishing in second. I think they're second place team. And for the reasons you just said, Rob, the leadership they brought in, the camaraderie between 3 of the 4 new guys that have already been there, it's that shit is it's so addictive that when you see that kind of camaraderie, that kind of leadership, that kind of buddy, it's so addictive in a locker room like that. Guys are going to feed into it. And, it's not just for that reason. These guys know how to keep it light when to keep it light. These guys know when to have fun. These guys know when to break it down. You bring in guys who, if Carter Hart's having a little bit of a rough night, know how to skate over and talk to him and say, hey, listen, just settle down a little bit. We're not doing our part. We got you. We're gonna step it up a little bit. It's not you, it's us. Like that's why I think they finished in second. We know there's a little bit of questions in the scoring department, but I think defensively they're going to be much better. I think the penalty kill is going to be much better. Carter Hart is going to be much better, and I think just with the guys they brought, like even to bring in Derek Brassard, as minimal of a contract as that was, that's going to help the power play. The guy has good vision. He can pass the puck really well, and he knows when to shoot on the power play.
And he
knows how to get open as well. Yeah, so he's got good vision. He's got good IQ on offense. So all that stuff is going to help. And then you just kind of put in a little bit of the younger guys in there for a little bit of speed and a little bit of freshness. I think the Flyers are going to be good. I think the Flyers are going to be real good. Like I said, Washington, I think, does take a step back. Pittsburgh, I think, takes a step back, even with the healthy Crosby. They're going to miss Malkin, so that's going to be a problem for Pittsburgh moving forward. That's big shoes to fill. So that opens up a couple other spots. I don't think the Islanders have good enough offense as well as they play the Flyers. But again, with the guys they brought in, we're going to see a different story here with some physical defensemen on the back end for the Flyers.
That's true. It's not going to be the same as it was last year because it's a different team altogether with all the changes that were made. Did Larry say, born and raised in Philly, 48 years now. I live in South Carolina. They know nothing about hockey.
I'm up in North Carolina, so I kind of feel you. This is going to be my first full hockey season down here, so we'll see. We'll see. I mean, at least down here, you got them talking about the Hurricanes on the radio, so they don't talk. It doesn't matter what Philly station you're listening to. They don't talk about the Flyers. It doesn't matter how good
not really. No, you're right. The only time they ever talk about it is that the Flyers are doing very, very well. Like, literally very, very well. Perfect almost. It's the only time they'll ever bring them up. But anyway.
And then that still kind of flirts with that line, though.
Yeah. But hey, bro, you have a real goal opportunity there. You could spread the Duck influence there. You could just invite your neighbors over, be like, yo, got some hockey games to watch here, and you can have them watch the Ducks. I mean, I can't guarantee they'll be Ducks fans, but maybe.
You never know. Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, that's true.
He's still with us. I guess he's napping in
between
segments.
Must be. I don't know.
He's got to be in and out. He's got to be in and out.
Yeah.
He's not commenting as much as he usually is.
True. He is saying, though, Pens are always missing Malkin. Gino is always hurt, it seems like. Well,
yeah, but this is more longer term than what they're used to with him. Usually it's just maybe a few weeks, couple months. But for this one, they're putting him on the LTIR, so they're going to be missing him for quite some time.
They will have $10 million, though, to work with if they need to bring in somebody to help fill in if they need to. But, again, we'll see if they need to.
Win the cup and they bring Malkin back for the playoffs.
God, I hope
the
that
NHL the hockey world would go ballistic. Hockey world will lose it. And then Malkin has a shirt that says 10 mil over the cap.
Oh my God! Actually, I could see him fucking doing that, knowing the kind of antagonist that he is. Oh yes, absolutely.
Kucherov going back and forth. Those brethren that they are. That's funny. That'd be funny. I would laugh. I would have a good time with that.
You would. I would just be like, "Fuck you, Malkin, you piece of shit. Fuck you and your shitty ass Penguins." Anyway, all right. On to our next team on the list. Fuck it. Segue. Pittsburgh. All right. So to the Penguins we go. A team that we all know and know. So with that, the Penguins have been an interesting team. We thought they might take a step back last year. They actually played pretty decently last year. Better than they did the year previous and the year before that, too. And managed to get into the playoffs, albeit, though, due to an error in judgment. I guess that's the best way to word that. They got themselves eliminated by the New York Islanders. And now they're going into this year with a healthy Crosby, as we were stating. Malkin, though, on the LTIR. What do you think? Do you think the Penguins miss for the first time in a long time? Or do you think the Penguins could hold on to a division spot or sneak in on a wild card?
For Pittsburgh, it's tough because, they still missing Malkin does hurt. You're getting Crosby back finally at 100% after saying he spent like the last few years playing hurt. Finally had surgery to fix whatever was ailing him. He said it was in his wrist or something, but they didn't really do anything to wow me in the offseason. I think they pretty much stayed pat for the most part.
True.
Tristan Jarry doesn't do much for me. I mean, you're still going to have to outscore them. I see them battling for a wild card, but ultimately, unless they make a major move, I see Pittsburgh just barely missing the playoffs.
Wow.
Hey, somebody's got to go.
Well, I mean, I believe in a lot of this depth scoring that they have. I mean, Jake Gensel's a fine young hockey player. I mean, let's call it like it is. Even Zach Austin Reese has had a lot of game-winning goals for them. Brian Russ is a quality player, right? You lose, Jared McCann, which is a depth piece, but he was a quality depth piece. That so that loss will be felt or whatever. It just brass tacks. It's about the health of Crosby and Malkin as it always is. With this team. So could I see them have a spotty, coming in the year, coming both off surgery? Yeah, I could certainly see that. Maybe that puts them in a hole that they got to build back. Maybe, and I do see them having a better second half, once those two guys are back up to strength. So, I think they'll secure a wild card team. If not, I mean, like you said. I mean, this team came out of the realigned, form of this division last year, and it's basically the same team. So you got to give a little credit there.
No, I mean, for sure. I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right with the depth. Even going a little bit further than that, Rob, you got Jason Zucker, who's a solid middle six guy.
Yeah.
They went out and they got Danton Heinen, who was previously with Anaheim. Didn't really do much with them, but still relatively young winger who has scoring upside, and he does bring some speed to it.
And of course, they have Marino, who they're real big on for moving forward with the team.
I'm not. I mean, their defense hasn't changed much. I mean, like Maddie just brought up Marino. It's still Dumoulin, Letang, Matheson, who they just brought in. Marcus Pedersen, from who they got in a trade with Anaheim, is still there. I don't think they've really upgraded anywhere. Even to Priz's question, the Smith is okay. Like, they have okay goaltending. I'm not sold on this Pittsburgh team anymore. I think they're starting to get a little bit older. I don't think they made enough changes, which is huge, especially with the way that this division is starting to unfold. Carolina, super busy. Flyers, super busy. Islanders, you can put them under the super busy, even though they really did all their signings in one day. Rangers, not really super busy, but they're implementing a lot of youth. I don't think Pittsburgh's going to be able to keep up with some of these guys as far as speed goes. You're still going to have to score to beat Pittsburgh because, to your point, Rob, depth scoring. They have plenty of it. So their goaltending, to me, is what's really going to be their X factor or their downfall. To what LJ Lava said, goaltending is their downfall. I absolutely agree to that. I don't think Tristan Jarry's an answer. I don't think Casey DeSmith is much better. So we'll see. Time will tell.
Yeah. Prism saying John Marino is a young stud defenseman. He also was saying that Marco Rossi is a plus 1,200 for Calder voting on DraftKings Sportsbook, and Spencer Knight is at plus 800 in great values. Neil said Zegras was at even, I believe, so he's the favorite. Off topic, all I can really add to tonight.
I like it, though, man. My money's on Rossi.
Yeah, to Prison's point about Marianos, he's I know this isn't the full training camp roster, but to what Pittsburgh has on their thing right now, he's not even on there. So it's a matter of, is he? I mean, where is he still playing? Is he still playing juniors? Is he in the AHL yet? When are they going to see him? That's a question for Marianos.
That's true. It will be interesting. Now we've got Lil Yava or Il Lava. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Saying you will think that Tampa, Florida, Toronto, and Boston will make the playoffs. I don't think both wild cards come from the Metro. And that is true. With the wild card race, there are a few Atlantic Division teams to keep track of because unlike the last few years, the Atlantic Division is not as set as it used to be. Their third place might have some company. It could be possible that it's not a guaranteed spot for either of the teams. Boston may very well take a step back this year and may have to settle for a wild card spot if they compete. Maybe Florida makes the run and actually is consistent enough to get in again for a second year or third year in a row. It's weird to say that. And
You got a good organization now.
yeah, I know. That's also weird to say. Uh, but also, Montreal, we don't know what to expect from them after what they did this past season. Who knows what's going to happen with them? We'll see if losing Shea Weber and the Carey Price situation, we'll see if that might doom them in the end, but we'll see.
And they lost Kotkaniemi.
They did, and they just lost Kotkaniemi, who was a big part of their play. So he wasn't an insignificant loss. So, it's interesting to look at the Atlantic Division. There are some teams to keep your eyes on in terms of, talent that could be competitive in that division. But
I think 3 out of those 4 teams make the playoffs. Tampa, Florida, Toronto, I think are going to be your division teams. I don't think Boston makes it.
That would be huge if Boston doesn't make it, because that'd be the first time Boston's missed, since the early 2000s. Yeah, since the early 2000s. It's been a long time since Boston's not been in the playoffs.
Tuukka's still a free agent. And I don't know if Boston wants to bring him back. Because they got Swayman, and they went out and picked up one of the goaltenders from Boston. I'm blanking on who it was.
Oh,
I want to
Allmark.
say it was Carter. Allmark. You're right. Allmark. But you never know, and that's the beauty of doing these early breakdowns is breaking down and having predictions. This is the fun part about what we do.
Absolutely. And he does go on to say Ottawa is going to be very competitive. I think Ottawa will be a frustrating team. Since I didn't get a chance to really talk about the Atlantic Division, I'm just going to ask you guys, do you think that they could be competitive enough to, be a wild card contender? I'm not 100% sure on that.
I mean, both of you guys were out for the Atlantic Division talk, which is me and Frank. So
yeah,
I definitely the people know what I think, and I'll go over it. But Rob, Matt, you guys go first.
I mean, I think they'll be better. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Tim Stutzel, man. We covered him during our draft, coverage, looking at that fine young player, and his game is translated, very well. I like the pieces that they put together and what they've done in the draft. So I just think it's a little too early to be competing for a wild card, but they won't be an easy W. You know what I mean? And they'll take a few games that'll be key and maybe like put a thorn in the side of some of the cream of the crop that we just talked about in the Atlantic.
Yeah. I don't think Ottawa makes it to the wild card, but I do think that they'll be frustrating. They'll be good enough to be a spoiler. I don't think they'll be good enough to make it as a wild card. However, though, I think they might finish a little higher than some people might expect them to. And I think that not enough to get in, but they'll be like, really? Ottawa finished that high? Huh. Okay, maybe there is progress being made in Ottawa because we've been seeing it, and I think we'll start seeing some more progress moving forward.
Yeah, they're a good young team. They have a lot of talent on that roster, on the blue line especially. You brought up Stutzel. I'm sorry, Studsoul. Still got Brady Tkachuk. They got Chris Tierney, who can still play at a decent level. He's a good, solid middle six guy. They had that enough, but I think they traded him to Vegas, which I didn't like.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
Matt Murray is my only question mark for that team and how high they finish. Matt Murray has shown since the Stanley Cup run what kind of goalie is he. Obviously, we're looking at somewhat of a average to below average goaltender.
Yeah,
he's flirting with that below average.
Yeah, he got kind of exposed after Fleury left him.
I like. Obviously, Thomas Chabot is going to be a huge guy on that defense. Victor Mete is going to be another big part of that defense. I'm trying to think of some of the younger guys. Jake Sanderson, who's not quite ready yet, will be a huge part of that defense moving forward. Who they got in the same draft that they actually, I think they took. Who did they take? I think it was Stutzel. I think it was that same draft.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So this team is they're going to be a frustrating team this year. I think they're going to be competitive. I don't think they're going to have. I think they probably finish around 35 to 40 wins. So a little bit close to that 500-ish mark. Yeah, I mean, to what LJ Lava just said, I could see them finishing close to fifth. I don't think it's much higher, but I could see them finishing close to fifth or sixth. Sounds about right for Ottawa.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think a lot of people would step back for a moment and like, whoa, Ottawa finished that high? Like, yeah, Ottawa's progressing in the right direction. This is a sign of things to come for them. They're going to slowly start creeping up the standings and become frustrating as we move forward.
And I love their unis. I love their new uniforms. So when they kicked it back to the 2D logo, love it.
That was a good logo.
SJM86 wants to know.
What's up, fan? Do you guys think trading the 13th overall this year, 2022, second round next year, plus Hag, blah, he did put the blah in there, for Ristolainen was too much for a big body physical defenseman? It was a price. It was a pretty nasty little price there to get Ristolainen. But here's the problem. You're kind of situated with a spot of, well, we need someone to be a stay-at-home D-man, and we also want a player that we feel like has upside, and they felt that he had the upside. That's pretty much the way. That's the best way I can try and describe what happened in that deal, because I do think that it was a little too much for him, but at the same time, I think everyone makes way too much out of analytics sometimes. I feel like, give him a moment. I think there's a good chance for him to prosper here in the Flyer system because he's not going to be in charge of trying to push the puck forward. We've got offensive defensemen who can take care of that. His job is basically to be the physical presence to make sure that Carter Hart doesn't have someone standing in front of him every 5 fucking minutes and letting in a long goal.
Rob, your thoughts?
I agree with that immensely. It's too much. It was too much, but if you need something, you pay top dollar. And that's what they did here. Because of the fine second-round pick with Samu, that made the blow, softened it, immensely, because you got a fine player in the second round who could have easily went late in the first round. So you get maybe borderline first-round talent there after trading away the 13th overall. It's the second pick on top of that. Plus Hogg, plays a solid D and could rebound in a new setting, quite immensely. But, I mean, we saw how well Buffalo's Sabres system did well for Ristolainen, and he's going to be in a better system here. I think, like you said, Maddie, he's not going to have to worry about playing the all-around game, stay home, clear the porch, be that stay-at-home defenseman. So, in the end, I still love it. I think I talked about him as a target last year before it became a thing. So, of course, I have to love it.
You predicted it.
Yeah, no.
Just the type of player they needed.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you guys. I think it was a little too much. I think they probably could have gotten it for the second-round pick, but I don't think they saw anything they liked at 13, anything that was really appealing to them that they thought that could help. So you package a deal and you go address a need. And one of those needs was, obviously, you need a big-bodied physical defenseman. You need a guy to clear a porch. You need a guy who's going to get into those corners and run guys into the boards, and that's something they were missing. SMJ, I don't think they pair him with Provorov. I think that's going to be Ryan Ellis. With Ristolainen, though, he does have that offensive upside that if he needs to, he can push the puck. He does have a nasty slap shot, so he can be used and probably will be used on the second power play unit, which would make sense. He can do that. And to your point, following your next comment, it is. They did have a huge issue trying to find a guy to play with Provi after Niski, and it's very encouraging. And even throw this to go a little bit deeper, not only did all three guys wear A's and letters on their jerseys, just about every guy they brought in this year, Yandel, Ellis, Ristolainen, Brassard, Cam Atkinson, all wore letters on their jerseys before coming here. So that's something huge that I think that they needed to address, and they did address, was extra leadership in the locker room. So that's great.
Yeah. And he does bring up Atkinson, also gives them a guy who has that shoot first mentality, which is important. It's very important to have that.
I think he's on a line with Hayes. Jumpstart, he's on line too with Kevin Hayes.
True. Now, Ilya wants to ask, but do we sign him?
Risto?
Yeah, I think that's what he was meaning on Risto.
Yes. I mean, obviously it's going to depend on the type of year he has, but I mean, you're not going to re-sign him for his offensive numbers because they're not going to be great. He's probably going to be in that 20 point mark. But yeah, I think if he has a great year, you re-sign him.
And Prism saying, if you give up that much, I'm sure you do it if he plays well.
You see, this is why we like Priz. He's on our wavelength for the most part.
All right, gentlemen. So we've talked about Pittsburgh, got them taken care of. Now let's turn to everybody's favorite team in the comment section, Carolina. The team that has really stoked the fires of intrigue going into this year in the Metropolitan, mostly because of what they did last year. Last year, Carolina was coming off of a bubble appearance where saw them go to the second round, but, well, technically the first round, where they fizzled out against Boston. But the year after that, in the pandemic-shortened season, boy, did they have a good one. They wound up taking first place in the Central Division, and they wound up beating Nashville. And then they went to the next round, and they proceeded to get buzzsawed by the Tampa Bay Lightning. So now that has happened, and now that they've stitched themselves together, what do you think about Carolina folding back into the Metropolitan Division? Do you see them taking a division spot? Because I kind of think that they probably do. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think that it might be something else we're looking at here?
I mean, I definitely think that they take the top division spot. I think they are the Metro Division winning team. And like I was saying a little bit earlier in the show, I thought they did a really good job going over things like bringing in a guy like Ian Cole, Tony DeAngelo, keeping guys like Jake Carter. One of the other names that they brought in was Brendan Smith from the Rangers as well. So they addressed the need. They knew defensively they couldn't keep up with Tampa, and that if they needed to, they're going to have to upgrade that. Now, the one thing that I'm still not sure of is why in the blue hell they traded Alex Nedeljkovic. I'm still trying to figure that one out. But they did go out and get Antti Ranta and Frederick Anderson, which I think is going to help. So you have essentially two starters as your starter backup, which I think is a good thing. And they did address some of the lack of offense this season too, bringing in going after Kotkaniemi on an offer sheet. Since the Atlantic Division show, which I honestly thought Carolina was going to be in the Atlantic Division, so I did break this team down then. They went out. I said they had to go out and get Andrei Svechnikov back under contract as well. They did that, and I thought they got a great deal out of him. And bringing in Derek Stepan is another really good move. I think this team is going to be okay. I see them making a deep run in the Eastern Conference, and they, to me, until proven otherwise, they are the team to beat in the Metro Division.
You know, everybody makes a wonderful argument, but I just see question marks. I see question mark. I'm not excited about Freddie Anderson or Antti Ranta. When you have two B-level goaltenders, you have no goaltenders. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. Like this year with the Olympic break, you're going to need guys that are going to have to, make regular starts with a more like jam-packed schedule. But I mean, I could be dead wrong. I just see a team that's weaker in defense. I've already talked about it ad nauseum, so I know we want to get through the rest of the teams. I think this could be my pick for biggest surprise that a lot of people are picking for first, and I say they missed the playoffs.
Oh, that's a hot
wow,
take.
that's a woo! You have a missing. Okay,
I see your point with Freddie Anderson, especially. He struggled in Toronto after his first couple of years for sure. So I see, dude. I absolutely see where you're coming from. So the one thing I will say, I do think he's in front of a better defense in front of him now. Yeah. I mean, obviously outside of Toronto, you have TJ Brody and you have Morgan Riley, and after that, who do they really have? You know what I mean? Like the defense struggled. I mean, Jack Campbell played pretty well for the most part, but there was a lot of times he got left high and dry. But I mean, for at least Carolina, they're going to be able to compete because they can score goals.
Well, let's not be too harsh on Toronto's defense. Those were some lovely pylons that they had for the second and third defensive pair, especially against Montreal. Those things were beautiful.
And they do have talented goal scorers. I mean, Svechnikov is very talented. Aho is very talented. I'm not taking anything away from him or whatnot, but there's also injury questions there as well. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's something to bear in mind.
Yeah, that is. And he says, well, they do have trouble beating Metro teams. Well, yeah, that's kind of true.
and like I was saying to you a little bit earlier tonight, Rob, you know, one of the things that I love about this Carolina Hurricanes team is their coaching. I think Rob Brindamore does an amazing job at getting the best out of his players. And I think you're going to get a whole new version of Jesper Kotkaniemi. I think Stepan's going to be a great third-line player for this guy. And I think you get the best out of some of these players. Like, Rod Brendamore's not going to put up with the bullshit that Tony DeAngelo did in New York. He's not going to. No, so he's going to whip his ass into shape. He's going to get Brendan Smith back into shape. And then you still have – I'm looking at the roster here. I mean, Ian Cole's a great guy to bring in, great leader on the defensive side. You have Ethan Bear, who they just brought in from Edmonton in the trade for Warren Fogle. And then you still have their best defenseman at Jacob Slavin. So, you know, every move they made is depth for their defense. So I see your point, Rob. I do, and I definitely see where you're coming from, but especially on the goaltending aspect, I could see why you would pick them to just miss the playoffs.
All right, then. So we move forward, and Prism did have his lineup here. 1 Islanders, 2 Flyers, 3 Rangers, 4 Capitals, 5 Hurricanes. Well, let's talk about that number 4 team right there. Let's talk about Washington. Washington, boy, oh boy. Talk about a team that keeps on resurrecting itself. I've never seen a team master necromancy better than the Washington Capitals. Just when you think that they're about to die, nope. Fuck off. That's not happening. We're just going to get Peter Laviolette to inject some life into the offense, and then we're going to make a run, then get our asses kicked by the Boston Bruins. Listen, it's not an exact science, but still. Anyway, Washington, where do we see them finishing? Do we see them missing for the first time, long time, or do we see Washington still hovering in a division spot or wild card? Since it's been a bit of a, I wouldn't say a crapshoot, but it's been a very interesting situation out there, especially around goaltending and can the team keep up the pace that they've set for themselves over the last decade.
Rob, you can go first because you had that look on your face. Like, as soon as we brought him up, you're like, yes.
It was more like, no. Because I actually had this team pegged as second in this division behind the Islanders, who I have winning division as well, Priz. And we'll talk about them in a little bit, I imagine. But I was looking at, I mean, they did lose some key losses here. Jacob Verana, Richard Panik, Brendan Dillon. And they didn't really do much in terms of bringing much in, but in the end, I mean, we talked about all last season how Alex Ovechkin, shooting for the great one's scoring record, scoring, like 20 years younger, before he turns 36 this season. I mean, I get it. Oshie's older, 1 year older. So is Backstrom. So is Carlson. So is Orlov, but these are all still great hockey players. I think their experience alone in last season, 36, 15, and 5, took second place in the East Division. Before that, the Caps have won this division 5 straight times. Do we know that? Do we talk about that? We're talking about it now.
We are now.
So, until they show, we see a bigger creak in the armor of the Pittsburgh Penguins than we do with this Capitals team. That's what I think is the difference, where Penguins will be on the outside looking in, to previous commenters, points that maybe only one or maybe no wild card teams come out of this division, because there are some very competitive teams in the Atlantic, as you boys talked about, or as Brian talked about. Yeah, but no, Ovechkin, as long as he's continuing lighting the lamp and scoring at this wicked pace, this team is going to be competitive, and it's not just all on him. There's a lot of experience, and that's why they won the cup, not too long ago. And while they'll be in contention for it again.
Oh gosh,
Ilyava, thank you, brother.
Quick, yeah, I appreciate that, and to Julius's May, no, they don't. I think their issues are a lot deeper than the manager, and they are. This is the same situation with the Flyers. It's a team that's just stuck in wherever it is, and new coach, same issues. So I don't see the Phillies really firing Joe Girardi anytime soon. I think he needs another year, and I think Dave Dombrowski and Sam Fold need a full year, a full offseason to put a good roster together. And honestly, I think this is just really the last leftover of the Clentech era. Get some of those guys out of the locker room, and I think it's an issue with the front office. I think it's an issue with the roster. I think the coach right now, I can't blame Girardi for most of these. But jumping back to the Capitals here real quick, I see them missing, and them missing is going to have a lot to do with their goaltending. Mm-hmm. Young goaltender in Ilya Samsonov showed that he could play. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm not saying that he's going to be bad or anything like that. I think he was a little inconsistent last year, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that he's what? No, he was born in 97. I don't know how old that makes him. 24? Something like that, 23? Somewhere in that ballpark.
24.
Math is not my strong suit. Not my strong suit. But
good point, though. Still holds up. I mean, also, they were kind of thrown to the fire because Henrik Lundqvist went down with his heart condition. So all of a sudden, be like, hey, guys, you want to be the starter? Good. You're the starter now. Have fun. Shithead. Right.
And I think that's why they brought in Lundqvist to begin with. Wanted to give him a shot to win one more time and give him, let him be the mentor to Ilya Samsonov. And fortunately, he had his heart issue. Now he's retired. I think the year older for some of these other players is really going to start taking an effect. Obviously, Ovechkin is different. He built different. 35 years old. Got a fucking 5-year contract for $9.5 million. Are you kidding me? Like, that says something. What's up, Jimmy? Jimmy is the other half of Flight Zone you can catch on Monday night at 9:30.
He said, what's up, boys? The Phillies, quite frankly, pissed me off. And I got the Isles winning it. Flyers may get second or third. So hovering around pretty much all of our ranges. So there you go.
Yeah, but I think the only thing that I think any of us don't agree on is who we have winning the division. So we either have the Hurricanes or the Islanders, and that's pretty much been the consensus from everybody tonight. It's either been the Islanders or the Hurricanes. But back to the Capitals here, they didn't do much to really get better. I mean, to me, and you brought this up, and it's, to me, is a huge loss. You traded away Jacob Vrana. You traded away Jacob Vrana, a good young, huge playmaking ability to Detroit, and that helps Detroit take a huge step forward in their rebuild because you give them that young stud. And I've been throwing that word around a lot tonight, but he is. Jacob Vrana is a stud. And they gave up on him for Anthony Mantha. I mean, not to take anything away from Mantha, good player, but it's really going to be a matter of a couple of things for me. It's obviously we know what we're getting out of Ovechkin, but can he keep up the pace? TJ Oshie, can he keep up his pace? Nicholas Backstrom, can he keep up his pace? We're talking about the key guys here, not so much the depth, but can the key guys keep it up? They're older. They're another year older. Ovechkin's going to be, 36 by the time the season starts ish?
36, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean, even for a system like Peter Laviolette that really emphasizes the offensive side of the puck. When your team starts to hit that 30, 35 to 40 range, it's really it will catch up with these guys at some point.
We've been seeing it firsthand with Giroux. I mean, Giroux's numbers have gone down a little bit since his 100-point season. He's never really gotten them up to a huge plateau, and I think that just comes with the time. You know what I mean? And Crosby, the same thing. Crosby hasn't exactly been lighting the world on fire over the last few seasons either, and that is the guy who was considered the best player in the league for a long time. So it's going to happen to everybody at some point.
Yeah, well, it's not about the.
Go ahead, Rob.
It's not about the leaderboard. It's about when you're scoring, though.
Yeah, true.
True. And these guys are still scoring it, in the clutch when it matters.
That is true.
And with Crosby, apparently, I don't think anybody knew that he's been playing with an injury for the last few years. So that could be a huge reason why his production has dropped, and his production hasn't really dropped that much.
Right.
Not by much, but it's just been weird to see it. You know what I mean? It's been noticeable.
Well, bottom line is teams are going to have question marks. Boys, we've been sports fans for a long time. It doesn't always work out like the rankings will say it'll work out.
True.
So you got to make some bold calls. And it seems like, Brian, the bold call that I'm making on Carolina is for different reasons equivocated by you with the Capitals. And, them being almost switching places. I had the Caps finishing second. You have the Hurricanes finishing first. But you get my point in terms of teams that you expect to maybe be there but wind up coming in here or whatever. This is why we're the best in business.
Oh, absolutely. Hands down, brother. Hands down, brother. But yeah, I mean, at least, with Carolina, they do have younger pieces in place.
Right.
Washington doesn't.
Right, exactly.
Their youngest player that I've seen is Mike Vecchione.
Yeah, who they brought in this year. Yeah, that's the one way they got younger. But yeah, definitely for far different reasons. If you want to talk about long term, Hurricanes can be a problem long term. You know what I mean? That is for certain. Whereas Caps are on the other end of the spectrum. But when a game of hockey, man, I'm always going with the veteran with the experience.
Yeah, I got you.
Oh no, for sure. And there's, the proof is in the pudding behind that with a lot of these teams. And, these guys have chemistry together. They've all gelled. They know the system. So it's easy to pick a team like this. But for me, it's just how much longer can they keep up?
Yeah. With a very competitive division.
One quick thing. This is one quick thing before we move on here.
Sure.
What the hell is wrong with Washington? They let Seattle pick Vanacek.
Oh, yeah.
They traded for him. They gave up a second-round pick to get him back. I like Vanacek. I think he's going to be good. Actually, let me read off his stats here real quick.
Do you think that
some time last year?
Guys, do you think that because Vanacek wound up going back to Washington, that necessitated them having make the effort to go get Grubauer? No, you just thought that was okay. Gotcha.
Vanacek in 37 games last year, 21-10, 2.69 goals against, and a .908 save percentage. Solid numbers, right? Solid numbers. Not worth a second-round pick, in my opinion.
No, I agree.
Especially when he gets picked up in the drafts. Like, I get it. You want to go out. He's a big part of the future. I mean, he is only 25 years old, so
it's understandable.
Maybe I see it. Maybe I see it a little bit more now that I'm actually thinking about it out loud.
All right, so with Washington, we take our turn now to the final team left in the Metro. The team that has been the bane of several of the Metro teams' existences. They were the bane of ours 2 years ago, and they were the bane of every other team this past season. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm, of course, talking about the New York Islanders, who I don't even think arguably have the best coach in the league right now, and Barry Trotz behind the bench. And the Islanders, at the end of the day, have been a use of both force and defensive skill. However, they've had their scoring issues. That's been the main criticism that you could throw at them. Like I said earlier in the show, that bit them in the ass badly in Game 7 when they lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They lost 1-0. Nothing worse than that. Just one goal, and that's it. That's enough to put you away. But where do you think the Islanders go? Do you think the Islanders take the division, or do you think that the Islanders settle for a second or third place spot? Or do we go bold and say, like Brian said, not you, Dales, but, Atar. Do we say that they miss, or do they take a wild card spot? Where are we thinking the Islanders finish off this year?
I'm with BA.
Think they miss?
I think they miss.
All right.
I like Ilya Sorokin, and I like their defense, and they have some physical players. They play a hard hitting game. Yeah, Lava. They are definitely they're a fast team, that's for sure. But I don't know where they're going to get their scoring from. To be completely honest with you, outside of a couple players, Paul Murray being one. Matt Barzal being 2, and Josh Bailey being 3. They're not the most prolific scoring team in the NHL, but they are very solid, very hard hitting, very grinded out type of hockey team. And now Sorokin's getting a shot, and we've seen what Sorokin can do. So that's going to be a huge issue as well. But my thing is,
they do have Beauvillier.
Yeah, but Beauvillier is not going to be like that prolific goal scorer that they need. Beauvillier is really good, and he's fast. I see him more of a setup guy than he is a scorer. And even so, I think Beauvillier is going to be on the same line as Josh Bailey. So that's where Bailey's going to get most of his goals from. He's probably going to get most of them from Beauvillier right now. But then again, that could change as camps open. He could wind up on the first line, the third line, whatever. But my big thing is with them is like I said, it's a lack of goal scoring. They're not going to be the team that's going to blow you out 6-0, 7-0. They're going to be a team that's going to grind it out with you 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. And I think that's going to win them a bunch of games. But I think with the Flyers, with the Rangers, with the Capitals, because let's be real, Capitals are still going to score goals. With the Hurricanes, my question is, can they keep up with those 4 teams? Can they keep up with the goal scoring that those teams are going to be able to produce? I mean, Flyers is still a huge question mark because, there's new guys in the lineup. There's going to be younger guys in the lineup like Wade Allison who's going to get a first for the year. So there's still question marks there. But, how many games can they win being physical? That's my only question. And that's kind of why I can see them finishing 5th and just missing the playoffs.
Robbie, what are you thinking?
It got him 32 wins last year, and it's going to get him a whole hell. It's a great – Barry Trotz is a genius. I mean, you don't need a lot of goals in this system to work well. Now, that system does take a hit with the loss of Nick Leddy. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to overshadow that, but the 2 Ps on this in Polak and Pelech, I mean, are 2 of the finest defensemen in the league. They carry out the system to a T. They get good goaltending. Barzal is an outright stud. He can provide that goal scoring for you. And let's face facts, boys. This team did what it did last year without their captain, and he'll be back and he'll be healthy and won Anders Lee. So that's why, for all these reasons, I got him finishing in first. I hate to say it, but they're a tough team to match up against, as we've seen here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the one thing that I do want to point out is Gigi Pajot wasn't that guy that they thought he was going to be going to the Islanders. So he didn't really live up to what the trade was at the deadline a couple of years ago. I mean, to your point, Rob, like I'm not taking a shot at them and saying that they're terrible or anything like that, because they're not. They're like I said, they're a tough team. They're a fast team. They're going to grind it out. They're going to grind you down.
Yeah.
And another couple names off that defense, Scott Mayfield. We still have Johnny Boychuk. And something that might help them down the road is the trade of Andrew Ladd as well. So getting his contract off the books, him going to Arizona, could help down the line as well.
Well, it freed up money to sign Pellick long term.
It did.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the guys I think they wound up signing in that little spray of 5 or 6 signings that they had.
Yep.
But like I said, I mean, looking at this offense, there's some good guys. Like, but you bring in guys like Leo Komarov, who's been an Islander for a couple of years now. It's not the same player he was in Detroit.
Sure.
Anders Lee being back is going to be huge for them because he's not only just a guy who can score; he's another guy that's going to grind it out with you. So they're going to get a lot. I think they're going to wear a lot of teams out, and they're going to get a bunch of wins that way. But I think some of these faster teams, some of these teams that can actually score a little bit more than they can, they'll prevail over them a little bit more. I still think they have a very good record. I just think they miss playoffs.
So
let's face facts, boys. I hope they all go 0-82. You know what I mean? So,
and the Flyers go 82-0, baby. That's what that's what we want to see. Perfect season from you.
Yes. Yes, I'm the greatest wrestler in the world.
So
I'm not.
Me looking at the Islanders, one thing that I think is going to be very important to determine where they end up, not the first half, second half. And the reason why I say the second half, a lot of teams are probably going to come out of this division swinging right from the very beginning. And the Islanders will probably hold their own, but I don't necessarily think that they'll be the teams that'll be sitting in the division spots at the beginning of the season. I think, though, once we go through the Olympic break, you'll start to see those teams that started out strong very early start to slow down. And when they start to slow down, the Islanders will most likely start going up the standings because they've done it before, and they could easily do it again. So I think the second half of the season is going to be very interesting to look at the Islanders because by then, who knows if those high-scoring teams are going to go through droughts. They might very well go through droughts. And if they do, that could be bad news, especially if you got to face the Islanders later on in the season. If you got some late games against them and you're going through a scoring drought, they're a team that doesn't score too much, that may bode very well for them. Now, is it a pure exact science? No, it is not. You could still eke out a hard-earned victory. The Flyers eked out hard-earned victories against them last year. We missed, but we still did at the end of the day. Can't deny that. But at the end of the day, I think the second half is really going to determine how the Islanders finish up because I think a lot of the teams that'll start out hot, if they go a little cold, I think that's where the Islanders can sneak in and start to get some wins because they'll grind those teams down because they're starting to slow up a little bit. Because
teams will hit that drought, Matty, for sure. It's an 82-game season. Every team will.
Yeah, and I think that will be a point where I'm very interested to see how the Islanders will be doing then. Because if they catch a team at the right time, like say the Rangers are killing it right now and they're going on like a 5-game win streak, but then they start losing one game and then they lost another. They're not getting the goal scoring that they were getting from Georgiev's, a tiny bit leaky. They face the Islanders in like a home and home, and it's at a crucial time in the season, and the Islanders beat them both games. That may be the determining factor of whether the Rangers get in on a wild card or miss. And I think that that's where the Islanders could become that kind of a team that could sneak into the playoffs because they'll be the worst team to face off with when you're not scoring. They're the worst team to go up against. And the reason why is, too, the Islanders are very strong defensively. That's one thing that they can do very well, and that's shut you down. They shut down a lot of teams. They shut down the Bruins. That wasn't hard to do, except if you were the Flyers last year, but they shut them the fuck down. They shut down us in the playoffs 2 years ago. They did it to the Capitals, albeit though the Caps are a different team now than they were when they did it. But this is a good defensive team, and that's what concerns me when you have teams that are hot one moment, cold the next. The Islanders could sneak in off of that. That's what I'm wondering might happen with the Islanders here this season.
Just a little something for you guys here. So I pulled up the stats from the 2 years ago, the last full pretty much 82-game season. Their leading goal scorer was Brock Nelson with 26 goals.
Not a lot.
Good numbers. I'm not trashing the numbers here. I'm just Brock Nelson had 26 goals. He was their leading goal scorer, tied with J.G. Pageau. And then we go into last year. Granted, last year was a different year, shortened season. Brock Nelson again led the team in goals with 18. So again, it's not a question of, grit, physicality, whether this Islander team is good enough, because they are. You have to, with the way the NHL is, they're going to have to figure out a way to score more goals. And that's my big thing. And what's funny about it is it's all pretty much evenly spread out between like the same 5 players. So, you got from last year, Brock Nelson, Matthew Barzal, 17, Jordan Everly, 16, Anthony Beauvillier, 15, J.G. Pajot, 14, Oliver Wahlstrom is a guy we didn't bring up, but 12, Anders Lee, 12, and then Anders Lee didn't play the full year. So they get it pretty evenly spread out, but they grind games out and they beat you 2-1, 3-2, 4-3. Like,
yeah,
and again, not taking anything away from the Islanders. Good team, good coach, good system. Everything works for them. I just think they have to compete with some of these other teams. They have to figure out ways to score goals and win high scoring games. Now, I'm not necessarily sure they will be able to find a way to do that on a consistent basis.
It will be interesting to look at. I'm very intrigued to see where it all shakes out because obviously, like I said before, the first half of the season, you're more interested in seeing, okay, let's try to make a safety net. That's usually where teams have to try. Like, you could fuck up early in the season. You could fuck up in the first half and go on a losing streak, but you can build yourself back up and have room just to keep yourself comfortable and in the right position. You go on that Olympic break, you come back. If you have enough of a safety net and points, then you can come out swinging in the second half and you can make your spot in the playoffs. So that's the one thing that we have to keep in mind with teams going into that. What teams are going to come out hot at the beginning and are going to go cold in the second half. And I'm trying to think about what teams could possibly do that. Ironically enough, I think one of the teams that could struggle going down the line are the Hurricanes. I think they could struggle going down the line in the second half. And then another team that I think could struggle in the second half, believe it or not, is Washington. Yes, Washington can still score, but like you were talking about, Brad, can they keep the pace up? I don't know if they can. Like, yes,
I don't see them. That's why I don't necessarily see them making the playoffs either.
Yeah, and those
point, he's spot on though. There's going to be two top quality teams that are going to miss.
Yeah. And that's where that ties in perfectly where, it comes to like those two teams could easily be the two teams that miss, and that's where I could see it. And this is where I think the Islanders get in on a wild card.
Hey, Rob said he had the Hurricanes 5th. He went 6th with them.
I said Penn's 5th. Hurricanes 6th.
I thought you said you had the Pens 5th. My bad. That's my mistake then.
No. I did. That's what I had.
But
like this right there, it's a print form for you.
But yeah. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking as we go down the line in the second half. Excuse me. I think we're going to start seeing more teams start to kind of go cold a little bit, and I think that teams like the Hurricanes, teams like Washington, I think they're going to have their dry spells. Even if Ovechkin's scoring his head off, one player doesn't exactly make the team. Same thing with the Islanders. One player doesn't make the team, so you want scoring from everybody, like you were talking about, Brian, but you want more of it. If the Islanders are able to get that number up a little bit, they might just be able to sneak past the Canes and the Capitals and sneak into a wild card spot, and I think they will. I have a weird feeling this Islanders team isn't going away. I have a weird feeling this team will sneak into the playoffs and become the bane of everybody's existence again in the fucking playoffs. It's like, God damn it. I thought we were rid of this fucking team, and no. These motherfuckers got in again. And the worst part of it is, if they get in, there's one thing that we can all agree on. This is a team that's very good in the playoffs. This is a team that's built for playoff hockey. Yes, they grind you down, but at the end of the day, doesn't matter. Regular season, you got a full 82. You got to try and do that the entire time. That's going to be hard. All you got to do is do it 4 times. Sure, you can lose 1 or 2 games. You get back into that series, you finish it off. Who the fuck cares that you were down? Doesn't matter. Series is over. You shut them down and you won the series. That's all that mattered at the end of the day. So I can see it happening.
And this is kind of like my point why I can see the Islanders missing is look at how Tampa Bay played them. I mean, they're an exception to pretty much every rule there is in hockey, but they handled them pretty easily. They couldn't keep up. Anytime that the Islanders found a way back into the matchup, Tampa Bay had an answer. And that's kind of like that's why I think the Islanders are gonna. I'm not saying struggle, but they're gonna figure out a way to miss is the lack of consistent goal scoring. Now, to your point, Maddie, when it comes to that drought, because every team's going to go on one at some point, it's important to get off to a good start because it's gonna happen.
Yep.
When we don't know. So if it winds up being a piss poor stretch in the second half, that fast start's going to become more important.
Yeah.
And I see a lot of teams in the Metro kind of getting off to a fast start. So again, that's another it's so tough in this division. You have to. Somebody's missing.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
There's going to be a very good winning team that's going to have 85 plus points in the standings. That's going to miss the playoffs. And to Jimmy's point, I think Jimmy, Boston misses the playoffs. And it's not for anything more than goaltending. No Tuukka Rask, and he hasn't signed. He hasn't signed anywhere. You have Swayman and Olmark as your goaltenders in Boston right now. So I think that's the reason why Boston misses. But I think they will rebound though, depending on how things go. But I mean, jumping back to the Metro, it's a tough call because this is probably the closest division and the most competitive division in the NHL. Yeah. For me, it's Carolina, Philly, the Rangers. Who did I have fourth? I had Washington missing. I guess I will have the. I guess I will say that the Islanders are
sneaking in.
I think they sneak in on the fourth.
All right then.
And then you have Pittsburgh, Washington. No, you know what? No, I'm going to stick to my guns. Pittsburgh 4, Islanders 5, Washington 6, Devils 7, and Columbus 8 because, Columbus is just completely irrelevant right now.
Gotcha. So for me, the way I'm going to have it, number one for me, I'm going to go with I think I can see being down the line, I could see it shaking out to where out of all the teams in the division, it's going to be weird, but I just realized that. So if I have the Islanders sneaking on the wild card, you know what? I'm going to have to bump the Flyers up, and I think I'm going to, and I don't give a fuck. I'm bumping them up to 2. I'm going to bump them up to 2. Nope. Fuck it. I'm going all the way. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. Flyers 1, Rangers 2, and I'm gonna put the fucking Islanders 3rd, and I'm gonna say the wild card is going to be. Fuck it. I'll throw them in there. Pittsburgh gets 4th. Why not throw them a fucking bone? They still suck ass though. I don't care how weird that sounds, but that's how I'm going.
It's a complete 180, I feel like, from what you were talking about earlier.
180? Well,
compelling arguments.
Because I was originally saying that the Flyers were going to finish 3rd, but then I changed but then I realized, but you know what? I put the Islanders down to wild card, and then I realized, you know what? Okay, I got to start bumping the Flyers up because I don't think the Rangers finish ahead of us. So I'm going to put the Flyers 1, put the Rangers 2, and then I'm going to put the Islanders in fucking 3rd because I think they'll finish ahead of whatever the fucking whatever the fucking wild card team will be, which I think we're just gonna throw out Pittsburgh. I don't fucking care. By that point, who gives a shit?
Apparently, if Rob is crazy for taking Carolina so low, you must be crazy too. I mean, I'm a big believer in Rod Brindamore as a head coach. I mean, he took. Let's be real. He pretty much took a nothing team and turned them into what they are now. So I'm a big believer in Rod Brindamore as head coach and his coaching staff. And again, I think he brings out the best in his roster, and I think he's really good. They're going to put together a good team, and it's to my concern with Rob is the goaltending in Carolina. With Islanders, it's my concern is offense. Can they hang with some of these teams? Pittsburgh, Washington, age. Obviously, Pittsburgh's not going to have Malkin, but that's going to hurt. Washington, age. Rangers are going to be a good team. Flyers are going to be a good team. Matty's got a shadow walking around his house, which is kind of weird. It's kind of creeping me out a little bit right now.
That's my brother. He had to grab some stuff.
No, it's all good. All I just see is a shadow going. Yeah.
That's the spirit of Rod Brindamore ready to kill me for not having the Hurricanes make the playoffs.
It's going to be that time of year, so I get a little easy.
He'll be wearing a Michael Myers mask and everything. By the way, Halloween Kills. I'm actually very excited for that film. But anyway,
I'm over it.
I heard your prediction, Matty, on the YouTubes, and straight balls right there. I love it.
I don't care, man. I don't give a fuck. Flyers win the fucking division. I know it really don't mean much in the long run, but still, I don't give a fuck. Fuck all the other teams. Like I said before, they can all suck my dick. Fuck all you Metro teams. You ain't shit.
Oh my!
Flyers break their unbeaten streak. All fucking peaches and cream and fucking roses and parades. Let's go!
Oh my god!
Apparently, he's giving some hand jobs and getting some rainbows going over there.
Hey,
as Tom likes to say.
Listen, everyone loves a happy ending, goddamn it. Everyone. You tell me who doesn't.
By the way, if anybody has JD Martinez in their fantasy baseball leagues, he smashed a home run to the left center.
Ooh, nice.
I am sadly out in all my leagues for the first time in a long time. Yeah, but at least I can focus on fantasy football right now that I'm off to a rip-roaring start with.
Oh, there you go. All you got to do is to start the Eagles because they apparently destroyed the Falcons. So there you go.
Yeah, Jalen Hurts, hot thing in DFS right now.
Yeah. He's going to have his work cut out for him against the Niners. So although I think the Niners defense isn't going to be as good without their defensive coordinator from last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he could do some damage next week.
All right, then. So, gentlemen, that is our breakdown of the Metropolitan Division. I still fucking hate this division, but we broke it down and we did what we had to do. We waded through the muck. We got to the top teams in the league. Possibly, I don't think it's too far out of the limb. Do you think the Cup champion comes out of this division? Because I've been waiting for the first champion to not be Tampa. Do you think it's out of the realm of possibility that it comes out of the Metro? Because as tough as this division is, only really two teams can claim that they've won the Cup out of it, and that's Pittsburgh and Washington. So what do you guys think? You think you see a Cup champion out of this?
Too many warts. We picked up too many warts and it's reflective of our different standings. You know what I mean? There's so many different ways that it could work out. I said it when we covered the Central. It's the year after my prediction. It's the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Honestly, I could see if things go well for any of these teams. I could see many of these teams winning a cup. I think the favorite would be for me out of this division. I'm not even going to say their favorite, but my favorite would be obviously Carolina. It could be really any of these teams, to Jimmy's point. And Jimmy, appreciate you chiming in tonight, brother, as always. Always love talking sports with you, dude.
Absolutely. And we love that it was the Flyers that you mentioned there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with him. I could very much see the Cup coming out of the Metro. Again, the best division in hockey, the most competitive division in hockey. I mean, all these teams except for two, and one is even borderline now, can wind up in a playoff spot.
It's true.
That's the craziest part about it. Every team -2, and one's an exception because they're still rebuilding, and we'll see how things go with the addition of Dougie Hamilton. Are all playoff teams. No other division has that.
Yeah,
No other division has that.
that's
The
true.
Atlantic Division has a couple teams that are out. Pacific Division has like 3 teams that are out. 4 teams, potentially 4 teams that are out.
There's only one guarantee out in the Metro, and that's Columbus.
Mm-hmm. With the Central, guaranteed out Arizona. In the Pacific, guaranteed out possibly Kings, Ducks for sure, San Jose for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one other team I'm blanking on. Seattle's a question mark.
Yeah.
Atlantic Division.
Ottawa.
Ottawa could make some noise, but yeah, they're out. Detroit's out.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Nashville's out in the Central. I think Montreal could be. I did like some of the moves they made this offseason, but they did lose a lot. So that could be huge for them moving forward and taking a step back from where they were. Buffalo's in and out. Thanks, Larry. Love it.
Yep, forgot the big failing B there.
Mm-hmm. So, this is why I love doing the breakdowns. Yeah. This is why I love doing the breakdowns every year. This is why this is perfect, because by the time next week rolls around, training camps will be just about underway, if not for a couple days after. So I love it.
All right. So with that, that's it for our previews. We have done it, ladies and gentlemen. All 4 divisions broken down. There we have it. And this time it's the actual fucking divisions, unlike last year when the NHL decided to blue ball us by fucking changing the divisions on us at the last minute while we were doing our fucking breakdowns. But that was for a legitimate reason, because of COVID, so we understand. Nonetheless, no blue balls this year. This year we got it right. We're on the point. We've got it broken down for you. Everybody else's opinions.
Sorry.
What?
Sorry. Oh,
Thank you, Larry.
Man. I don't know who's in right field for Boston, but he missed a can of corn fly ball.
Hunter Renfroe? That's surprising, actually.
I don't know who it is. I didn't recognize the face.
But yes.
It was right in the palm of his glove. I think it is Renfroe. It is Renfroe, yeah.
Nonetheless, though, all the divisions broken down. We will see what happens with our predictions. Most likely they will be chucked off of a fucking cliff into the abyss once the season gets going. And we will be made to be all fucking liars when the goddamn Capitals win the goddamn division again. Anyway, so with that, we thank you all for joining us. What a fun journey this has been. Now it's time for an even more fun one. It's time for us to get ready for training camp and for preseason. And then after that, the start of the regular season for our respective teams. For Bry, the Anaheim Ducks. For us, the Philadelphia Flyers. And we shall see how our respective teams do in our first 82-game season in 2 seasons. So there we have it.
Real quick, if you're just new to the show, you just chimed in, you liked what you heard tonight, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Check us out on all our podcast formats, Apple, Spotify, all the great ones. We are absolutely everywhere. So hit that like, hit that subscribe to catch a live show. Hit the notifications. We have 17 live shows on this station right now. So if you love football, baseball as well, we got shows for you. You like wrestling? Join my boy Matty over here. He's on Lazy Booking that's making a comeback soon. We also have In This Very Ring as well. So hit that damn like, hit that damn subscribe. Let's go. Be a part of the A2D fam. Maddie, bring up the membership. Become an A2D member. It's $9.99 a month. You get all kinds of perks. You get appearances on shows, members only shout outs, weekly sports picks from Willie Vegas and Money Moss. Spend the $9.99 a month with these picks, sports picks from Money Moss and Willie Vegas. You're going to win some of that money back. You're probably going to make a profit off of it. As the Godfather Tom Arnone likes to say, be great today. Fuck with an algorithm. Let's fucking go. Let's do this. Let's go.
All right. And for our other show sponsors besides Body Check Wellness, for anyone out there, serious note, if anyone of your family or any other loved ones or you yourself are dealing with any kind of mental or addiction issues, the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox, their phone number is 856-651-8117. Listen, man, addiction is no joke. It hurts people every single day. It hurts families. It tears lives up. And mental illness does the exact same thing, too. So do not waste time. Make that call. We don't want to see you go through that, and we don't want to see a loved one of yours go through that. Make that call, 856-651-8117. Get the help you or they need. All right. And on a happier note, if you happen to go down to Ocean City, I know we're getting towards that point where there's not as much short time anymore. However, there's still a little bit of warmth weather, that, nice little cool breeze to it going on as well. While you still have time, head on down to Ocean City. And when you go down there, go to Ocean City Grilled Cheese and Quesadilla Company, located at the corner of 8th and Ocean Avenue. 16 different kinds of grilled cheese on Toasty Texas toast, or Toasty Texas sourdough bread. And you can use the promo code A2D for 10% off of your order. And while you're down in OC, after you're done seeing Ocean City Grilled Cheese and Quesadilla Company, you can go to All Campus OC. They're giving 20% off everything in their store, including hats, shirts, and their team cornhole sets to all of the subscribers on A2D. So get subscribed up and head on down there, get your grilled cheese, and then head on over to All Campus OC and wear your team colors with pride. John Coyle, awesome guy, and he does a little show of his own as well. So trust me, it's absolutely worth checking it out.
Yeah, he does a rant booth there on Saturdays with Billy Schwein from ESPN Radio. If you ever just want to rant it out, head up to the Ocean City Boardwalk, check out the rant booth, hang out, buy some hats from our boy John. Great guy, great supporter of what we do, and we're a big supporter of what he does as well.
Absolutely. And for anyone out there who suffered any kind of injury and physically it's been debilitating you, or if you've got some kind of ache or tweak or something like that that's just killing you, Specialized Physical Therapy, the best physical therapists in South Jersey. They are the best in this region. Trust me, you want to go there. Actually, trust Brian, because he went there for his shoulder, and it has never been better ever since he's gone there.
Yeah, I love it. I would have not gone anywhere else. They are a bunch of rock stars there. They do the best job. They have the best staff. Everybody always so nice and friendly, easy to talk to. If you do, try and request Carrie and Cherry Hill. She's the one who helped me the majority of my shoulder. Or go check out Allie, who I actually started my physical therapy with. She's up in Burlington. Both those girls do a phenomenal job. Dr. Paul does a great job as well. He is my doctor. Make him yours.
Absolutely. And also concussions. They're taking care of that now as well, which is very important because that's not something to play around with. So you want to go to the person who can take care of you. That's where you got to go. And if you're looking to buy or sell a home or a changing career in brokerage, contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC at 302-682-8820 or visit him at alan.foy at exprealty.com. That's always a big step in life. You want to get it right. Alan Foy is the guy to make sure it is done right. So go there and take care of that. Now, gentlemen, if you have been using the Money Pot podcast out there for your A2D members or Willie Vegas, you want to make sure you go to the right app, FanUp. That's the best way to enjoy fantasy sports. You sign up now at FanUp, only on the Apple App Store, and win your share of great prizes. Daily NFL contests. We are just starting, so there's plenty to go around, and more. and you can sign up today at FanUp.app. So you get all the advice you need from Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas. Go to FanUp. There you go. The winnings start coming your way.
I might have to switch over to iPhone just for this app. I'm just saying.
Get out of the evil Android empire and join the nice sterile Apple
Apple
utopia.
Apple just had their little thing today, and they're putting out some good stuff. I'm just saying.
By the way, if you want to also, now that you've won some money from your fantasy winnings and you want to look like you're just awesome, you got the money and everything's going perfect, a watch is the best way to go. Or if you need a watch for, like, if you're working out and you want to just quickly check the time because you don't want to pull out the phone because maybe you're jogging or what have you, you know what? Best place to go. Visit LaTerrain.com if you need a watch, and you can use the A2D code for 10% off of your order. Listen, man, they got everything you need. You got watches if you want to look fancy. They got watches if you just need to check the time. It don't matter. They got everything for you over there.
You know
what, Maddie?
Stuff too.
When you make a segue like that, you're kind of forced to go, segue.
Now it's Brian's turn. Guess what, Bri?
Oh, no.
After someone, if they got a little bit of extra money left over from La Terrain and they have a little extra to spend, where can they go to support us and the station?
Oh, that's easy. We're going to send you to PhillyDrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. Our boy Alex Einhorn always has great stuff. He's going to take great care of you. All kinds of T-shirts, hats, hoodies. I got a nice Zippo hoodie, nice light Zippo hoodie from them. T-shirts, they have show shirts. They have, what's the word? Novel T-shirts. They have Thrust the Process is one of the more popular ones they have right now. Garner Minshew coming over from Jacksonville. We already have a shirt out for him as well. The Quarterback Factory is a classic shirt that Philly Drinkers has for us, and you just check them out. Alex Einhorn does a great job. It's great quality shirts, fits great, feels good. You just go to Philly Drinkers LLC. That's PhillyDrinkers.com. Get your ADT merch there.
Absolutely. And to finish it all up, we have, of course, our show sponsor, Body Check Wellness, created by one Mr. Riley Cote. And when you visit bodycheckwellness.com, you can use the A2D promo code to get 25% off of your order. They are a line of hemp products, but they also have THC-free ones as well. Edibles, ointments, gummies. Rob, man, you use them, and you've never been better in terms of focus and clarity, right, brother?
100%, man. I actually started taking this, or not so much on an everyday event, but it's health and healing. I'm actually looking up the package now that I got the email, but in a sense, I made an order. I got this for free. You get those, little bumps and scrapes on your hands. Like you can see this one right here. I got from cutting the lawn the other day. I put this, honestly, I don't know how well you can see this right now, but this was a nice gash just a day ago, and it's already almost healed up already. Just holistic medicine, external, internal. Body Check Wellness has everything for your needs.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, that'll do it. So we thank you all for joining us for this edition of the Hockey Happy Hour. The season is upon us. Excitement is in the air. Anybody can go for the cup. Unless you're Buffalo and Arizona, you're just automatically fucked. And who knows what'll happen? Maybe this will be the year the Flyers finally bring that third cup, please God, hopefully, home to Philadelphia. Or maybe it's Colorado's turn to bring home that third cup.
Or Pittsburgh.
Oh God, no! Please, no! Don't bring that. Don't bring that here. I was actually going to be nice. I was going to be nice and say maybe. I know allergies are a bitch, but still, at the same time, though, I was going to be nice and say maybe Anaheim could all of a sudden just be like their old selves and win themselves their second cup in franchise history. Who knows?
Hey, real quick, Maddie, I found that email. It's Restore Wound and Skincare Oil. It's free with any order. You simply buy any product off bodycheckwellness.com, and you get this for free with your order.
Ooh, nice. Awesome. Very good deal right there. Awesome. And obviously, Rob showed you it works. Yeah, one day.
Yes, and I definitely need that for what I do. Being in the kitchen all day, burns, cuts, nicks, all kinds of stuff. It sounds like something that's right up my alley.
Someone get a little too handsy with the knife. Well, there goes my finger.
Been there. Been there.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. We thank you all. One last happy birthday shout out for Mr. Tom Arnone. Brother, happy birthday, my man. Here's to many more in the future for you. And we will see you guys next week right here on A2DRadio.com. Peace and love, everyone.
Happy candles.